This is the Gambling Gauchos.
You're listening to the Gambling Gauchos. Talking Texas Tech, betting on the Big 12 and beyond. We've got everything you need: money lines, memes, and matadors.
Well,
You want to quit, Ethan?
that'll be the day.
Now, here's Kyle Jacobson and Rob Bro, the Moneyline Matadors, the Casino Cowboys, the Parlay Picadors.
You see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig. You dig. Win.
The Gambling Gauchos. Oh, and one more thing. It's all West Texas. It always has been.
Welcome into the Gambling Gauchos. I'm Rob Bro. He's Kyle Jacobson. We're also here with 23 personnel. Spencer Rogers, Michael McDonald. You know, the first year we did the Rob Bro's College Tailgate Show, it was not that then. It was the college countdown to kickoff.
Yes, it was.
Anyways, I would always look at you guys and not know your names. Like, I knew your names, but it would then I'd call Michael Spencer and Spencer Michael the whole time.
It's cool. We do the same thing.
Do y'all remember that?
Hey, I'm Spencer.
Yeah, I got you.
Did you have a
Spencer
different podcast name when you started?
We did.
I don't think we can legally talk about that.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry.
We were given
got it.
a cease and desist.
Oh.
We got like 2 episodes in. We're like, man, we're doing really well. Like, people love Texas Tech podcasts, which obviously they do. And we got a letter from an attorney in Austin. Like, hey, yeah, so you're going to have to change your name.
I think it was also because we hyped ourselves as a podcast about cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah.
And so we got a lot of people that were instantly, oh, this is nothing.
It was a
Nothing at all
great
about-
name, though.
What did
It
your old
was.
podcast name rhyme with?
It was, you can see it on a flag.
It was a different way of saying come and take it.
Oh, okay.
With another T word
Yeah.
that is associated with podcasting. That
Gotcha.
rhymes with walk.
Cool.
But that podcast is a Second Amendment gun rights podcast hosted out of Austin
So they caught wind of us quickly.
Okay.
very quickly.
Because,
Anyways,
Because they're sensitive.
well, and, West Texas just carries. People pay attention to what we do out here.
I can't believe Kyle hadn't gotten a cease and desist yet. Is
That-
LaDainian Tomlinson?
Well, we did on Mark
contacted you?
Madness shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
true.
right.
That was my fault.
I'll take it.
That was specifically Rob's cease and
My bad,
desist.
guys. Anyway, welcome to the Cardinal Sports Center studio, guys.
It's wonderful here. This is the most comfortable I've ever been recording a podcast.
I've seen many say that this is the most ambitious crossover event in history.
Yes.
People are saying.
People are saying. I saw a tweet today mention that.
I did. Up there with Marvel.
Hey, if you want to get your gear at Cardinals, you can go online, mycardinalsports.com, or go in person in Lubbock or Plano.
Not Plainview.
Not Plainview.
Hey, I'm wearing a hat from Cardinals today.
There you go. It's custom.
It is a custom hat.
You walk in right there and say, hey, can I get a custom hat? And they do it for you.
Yeah, you can get a Gambling Gauchos hat. You can get a 23 personnel hat now, too.
Joker opened the church.
Is this the Lottie Moon
No,
pitch
there's a-
or what's going on?
Every time somebody says Plainview, I just think of, he's here in Plainview. And then that song stuck, man.
Y'all know about, since we're going down this rabbit hole, driving in from Plainview, I think it's in Abernathy, the Jesus in a glass box thing.
That's right outside Abernathy.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can see it on I-27. Have you seen that?
What?
Yes.
Coming back from like Palo Duro
Coming
Canyon
south
or something.
from Abernathy, like right out of
Yeah.
Abernathy.
On a billboard?
It's west
No,
of I-27.
it's like a large statue
No.
in like a glass building.
It's a large
What?
10, 12-foot
deal of
Christ.
Jesus. He's in a glass box on the cross. It's like, I guess, part of a church. that's
On
along the highway.
I-27?
Yeah.
Yes.
Never noticed
Like
that.
right by the frontage road.
And I think the cross is not necessarily vertical. I feel like
No, he's tilting forward.
yes,
He's like
I feel like the
leaning
Lord is
over the-
leaning. He's like
fall through.
lording over us. I think there's like a 30-degree angle.
watching over you on the frontage road.
Yeah. It has caught my eye a few times.
Interesting. When people are in the right lane going slow, it's forgive them, Father. They don't know what they do.
They know not what they do.
That's pretty much it.
What's funny too for people like you who don't know, and you're like, "Hey, have you guys seen Jesus in a box?" And they're like, "What?" And you go, "Jesus in a box in Abernathy." They're like, "What are you talking about?" And you're like, "Well, wait, like 5 minutes. We'll drive past and I'll show you." And it's a little bit jarring.
I've driven that road 1,000 times in the last couple of years. I've never seen that.
You ever had a wreck?
No,
That's why.
that's true.
Hey, go Lopes.
Knock on wood.
Go Lopes.
Well, Abernathy.
Hey, probably got some listeners in Abernathy.
They don't have the internet.
My brother-in-law lives in Abernathy. My nephews play for Abernathy.
Yeah, I love Abernathy.
Anthony White plays for Abernathy.
Yeah.
The more you say it, the more weird it sounds.
Do we?
one of those
You
words.
can say that about any word. Spoon.
Dollar.
Spoon.
Cryptocurrency.
Say that 5 times fast.
This is a
Jesus in a box.
Great start. Is that the SNL skit? Step 1?
Oh my gosh!
I was waiting for somebody to do that, and I was not going to be the first one.
Forgive Rob, Father, for he knows not what he just said.
Step 1. I'm going to stop before I make any more jokes.
Okay.
You put the Lord in a box.
I was going to start with the
Who said
nails.
that?
But
Oh, God.
so you've been doing a lot of lists lately, Kyle. I want to start there. A bit of an uprising with LaDainian Tomlinson last week. Do you know who he is?
Yeah. Do you want me to give the full oral history of that
Yeah.
list?
Well-
okay.
You can just say it. You don't have to.
Okay. So yeah, we've been doing these lists on Twitter, and usually there's like a subtle troll in there. Like for example, we did a most famous alumni list, and I listed Daryl K. Royal for OU because he played at OU and then he led Texas to multiple national championships. So it's like a kind of a shot at Oklahoma. Sometimes you put a really obvious troll that's like not even debatable, and usually that's like not for people to take the bait. Like you want them to, like some people might be confused and think that John Denver went to West Virginia, so that's a little subtle.
Is it, hold on though. Is that subtle? Like I thought it was very obvious. I'm like, God, he didn't go to West Virginia.
Well, I think Texas Tech fans know, but
Well, because they like to tell you how wrong you are.
Anyway, I put Zach Evans over LaDainian Tomlinson as TCU's best running back, and nobody in their right mind would do that. There's no debate to be had. And I thought that was so obvious that they'd be like, okay, they're trolling and just like ignore it. And it didn't turn out that way. And our Twitter started blowing up, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm going to mute notifications for it. And I checked back the next morning and found out it like exponentially went even more viral. And I guess people like literally thought I either forgot LT existed or didn't know who he was.
Well, the one guy quote tweeted you with an epic line. It's
Yes.
like, my brother in Christ, you need to Google LaDainian Tomlinson.
That was great.
People also were sending screenshots of Google interaction
Yes.
where there was nobody Googling LaDainian Tomlinson, and then
Hockey
right when you
stick.
tweeted, like, straight up, millions
Yeah.
of people.
The other thing that was funny about that is the people who earnestly thought I didn't know who LaDainian Tomlinson was because I'm a 15-year-old who didn't watch football until 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Completely missed that Gale Sayers was on the list, a running back from like the 50s at KU, 60s maybe. It's like, okay, let's think
Yeah,
this
and
through.
Earl Campbell.
Yeah, like, okay, I know enough football history to know who Gale Sayers and Earl Campbell are, but I didn't know who LaDainian Tomlinson was, who I literally watched growing up.
I just think you're still shell-shocked from Zach Evans' performance in Lubbock.
And it was
I mean, you saw
pretty
this in
remarkable.
person, so this was just – he's just that good.
Well, the other thing that's funny is, like, if you read the thread, right underneath that graphic, it says on there, like, this is a joke, LT is obviously better, but nobody reads the thread. Nobody goes to your Twitter page to see all the other tweets that you have addressing the viral tweet. And so, like, had people done a little bit of homework, they would have known that I was trolling. They should have known right off the bat that nobody thinks Zach Evans is better than LaDainian Tomlinson. But, like, even Mac Engel from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, he didn't take the bait. I think he knew it was a joke. He was playing into it. Then I quote tweeted him, and I was like, well, if LT is better, then TCU would have put him on a pitch count, just like they did with Zach Evans.
Yeah.
But nobody sees those follow-up tweets. And also, one more thing on this. When you intentionally bait people into something, and they respond with, John Denver didn't go to West Virginia, if you're the 500th person to quote tweet this or comment on Facebook, I promise that point has already been made. Like, if you're late to the party, you don't have to be the 500th person to tell me that John Denver didn't go to West Virginia.
I get that on Twitter because sometimes it is hard to see everyone else's if you're like not a good Twitter user. Facebook, you have to see 1,000 other comments. Just read a few.
No.
If your point's already been made.
They can't. That's not how
True.
Facebook operates. It's immediately,
True.
oh, I got to chime in.
The
I got to
other-
chime in right now.
The last thing on that list, the one of the funniest things to me was the people who had an earnest disagreement with the list and just completely glossed over the Zach Evans. They were like, Steve Slayton isn't better than so-and-so from West Virginia.
Yeah.
Just like completely ignored that LT was missing from the list.
Man, so when we started the list, when you started the list, Kyle, Kansas fans, most sensitive, worst.
Brutal.
Then Oklahoma. Oklahoma
Oh, yeah.
fans are sensitive and hard to put up with. TCU fans, though, they really got going for a couple of weeks, and the whole beef with Donati kind of spiked that up.
I don't even think it was TCU fans responding to the LT tweet. I think it's just
Well,
like college
it
football
started
fans.
there, yeah.
I think my experience with Twitter, with TCU fans on Twitter, was worse on the Donati, we're not going to sell tickets exchange than it was
Yeah.
on the LT list.
I would love to talk about how soft that was from an AD
We got nothing but time.
to point out, like, no, we're well aware that we don't want to sell tickets to you guys because we're tired of getting our stadiums and arenas overrun.
Well, what's crazy to me on that is, like, the seats are for sale.
Yeah,
Like,
you just
you-
buy them like
Yeah.
you pointed out on the third.
So all they're doing is not giving themselves the money. Unless Donati's, like, has stock in these third-party sites.
He's like a 49% owner of Vivid Seats.
Like, what does he do? Like, I just don't understand the thought process because the seats are available. You're not stopping anybody from coming.
I think
You're just
that
stopping your organization from making that money that you could have,
Yeah.
which
Or-
is stupid.
they're going to make the money anyway. Texas Tech fans are going to buy the 3-pack. Like, I know for a fact there were people, Texas Tech fans who live in Austin, that bought a season ticket only so that they could go to the Texas Tech game.
Yeah.
They're just going to do the same thing, and then they're going to
Well,
leave
yeah.
those seats empty for Oklahoma State
Or-
and Iowa State or whoever.
Or sell them to Cowboy and Cyclone fans and make money off of it and
go to-
still
go for
Bad
free.
look for TCU. It was funny, too, to see their fans on Twitter, all dozens of them, be like, you dropped this king, and, like, this is epic
Yeah.
move. I'm like, no, this is embarrassing.
I didn't get that either. I don't think that was a very like a response worthy of any sort of thing other than just kind of, oh, that was cringy. You
'Cause
probably shouldn't have said anything.
if Hokut came out and said like blatantly like we're not selling tickets to Longhorns, you're like, Hokut, man, that's buck up, dude. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
Invite them.
I'd be like disappointed at our fan base. Like, hey, go
Sell
sell,
more
out the
seats.
stadium so that
Yeah.
UT fans don't take it over. But TCU fans are like, no, we fully acknowledge we're not going to fill up the lowest capacity arena or stadium in the Big 12, and
For
we'd
now.
just rather be empty and it look awful than
Yeah.
your fans buy tickets to it.
Well, and last year the stadium was at 86% capacity on average for Texas Tech and 87% for TCU, and there's a 15,000 seat difference.
I don't. How is that even
A
possible?
20,000 seat difference.
Well, I mean, just there is video evidence of TCU Stadium, and
Well, there's video evidence of Texas Tech.
well, as long as it's taken between the first and second quarter,
Well, and on that
it's
point,
not bad.
my counter would be, we're in the middle of or at the end of the worst decade in program history.
Right.
You could probably say the opposite about TCU, unless you go back to like the Great Depression. And so, like, okay, they're not selling out stadiums when Trevon Boykin is like playing for a spot in the college football playoff. And yeah, our attendance has been bad, but it's like, okay, we're 3-6 with a coach nobody likes,
Yeah.
and we're playing Kansas.
Oh, we're 0-3 against TCU. Didn't you know that?
Imagine how many
the old
people would
last
go
three
if
games?
we,
That matters.
if we won. If we won against TCU the last 3 or 4 years, how many more Tech fans would even be going? It's just that's how rabid our fan base is. They don't care. We don't care that Tech's lost 3 in a row. I mean, we do care, but they're still going to show up and they're still going to try to get those seats.
That's why we fired Matt Wells.
Yeah, we care quite a bit.
You don't kick a field goal in second down.
Oh, my gosh. I don't think he ever recovered from that.
He should have been left.
Is that one of the
forward.
biggest what-ifs?
No.
Should that be a list? So we got the Rudy's moment.
Yeah.
We've got the second down field goal, the loss to Kansas, the
Oh, my God. I forgot about that.
starting quarterback in Norman that 1 year. I don't want to call anybody out.
Yeah.
Well, that was a punishment, though, wasn't it?
I think so, but
Pseudo
Sword
I
punishment.
thought so at the time. I think we were the ones punished in the end for that.
It was a punishment of sorts.
I mean, how is it a punishment if they put him in after 2 drives, though?
That's why I said like a pseudo, like, well, we're like in name only. We're going to.
No, they watched that guy in
start.
practice and then saw him, Jackson Tyner from Rice, saw this dude. That guy's the worst. They saw him not complete 2-yard passes or bubble screens or anything in the first 2 games. Like, we're up 35-0 against Montana State because the first string is bad. And you can't do anything, and you've only scored 35 on Montana State. Then you put in Jackson Tyner for 2 drives, and he can't complete a bubble screen. They thought that guy was the best option to play against Oklahoma.
On the road in Norman.
Yeah.
It's
amazing you didn't have more quarterback depth at that point. Because was that was Wells' first season? And so
yes.
before him, you had Cliff, allegedly the quarterback whisperer, was like, how do we not have, like, I think you've done well lately. You've got Baron Morton, Donovan Smith back-to-back years, and, like, I would want a guy like that every year.
And getting Jake Strong this year.
And we were in a position there where it was like, okay, Bowman got hurt, and, like...
Yeah, that was the huge knock on Cliff, especially in recruiting, that he couldn't get a quarterback. After Patrick, even with Patrick, you had Shimonik behind him, but... I mean,
Well, Shimonik was a transfer.
right, from Iowa. He was here a long time, though.
Yeah. He wasn't
Anyways.
groomed or you know what I mean.
Groomed.
Any
From
other
high
thoughts
school.
on TCU, or should we move on? Or
I mean...
But yes, I do know who LaDainian Tomlinson is. That was an intention. Okay, all right, one more funny thing on that, and then I'll shut up about this list. A lot of other people who assumed I forgot LT thought that I must have, I guess, believed Zach Evans was the second best running back in TCU history. And I don't have an answer off the top of my head for that, but surely it's a guy who played more than eight games there, or whatever he played.
Already transferred to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think he has like 700 career yards at TCU. Like, okay, even if I forgot about LT,
I think that was just the Tech game.
I was about to ask, how many of those 700
Half
yards
of
came
them.
against Tech?
We had
one
143.
half.
He had 143 in the first half.
Because he didn't play the second half.
No.
Ran out like
In-
this.
in
tapping his
2021.
head. I'm done, guys.
Like running into the end zone, like, I'm done.
And if I ran 143 yards, I'd be done too.
Keeping some tread on the tires for the NFL.
Oh, man.
For Lane. He's doing it for Lane.
TCU, too, it's just like... I always kind of wonder who Texas Tech's rival is. It kind of just seems like everyone is. Like, Texas Tech is just a fan base that hates everyone.
We
like
will beef with everyone.
TTVE, Texas Tech versus everybody. So, I mean, bring it on, really.
That's the other thing is, had their AD just left it alone, if they would have just had single game tickets, I feel like they caused a bigger stir.
100%.
Like, I probably wasn't going to go to that game.
No.
Unless Tech was just having a great season and I wanted to go to all the away games. Now I'm like, screw that. Like, I'm
Yeah,
buying
we're-
a ticket for me and my friends and family.
Yeah.
Now it's like a mission. You turned us all into wannabe, like, CIA operatives trying to bust into the
Road Raiders.
Amon G. Carter Stadium.
You want to go to the TCU game?
I do now.
Let's do it.
Like, had they all just left it alone, I mean, yeah, the normal amount of DFW alumni would have shown up, but now it's like a call to action.
Yeah.
When is it?
60-40.
November 5th. It's
November
circled on my
5th.
calendar now. It wasn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't have known if that game was in September or November until Friday night.
We could be like 2-6. Like, yeah, I want to go to that game.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah, because TCU will also be 2-6.
2-6. I have a little faith there.
Pink Raider there, Spencer?
No,
2-6.
Hold on. I've said it on our podcast. I'm all in on McGuire.
Yeah. Year 2.
What?
Year 2? Because 2-6 doesn't seem all in on year 1.
I'm just saying, like, he's got a mess to clean up.
Are you?
And he's already addressing it. I just think, like, we can't get caught up and be like, well, if he doesn't win 6 games, he's a failure.
No. We're
Screw
gonna do
that. Like, the dude's got a disaster to fix, and he's working on it. Results on the field may be suboptimal.
I would argue that Matt Wells had the talent, was just a bad coach.
The guys Wells brought in were really good.
I think there's some top-end
the transfers,
But
Wells
they were
brought in
transfers.
were
That's right.
good.
It wasn't a long-term
And there's not
solution.
3 of them at every position, which you need in the Big 12 to win.
Yes, that too. Depth has been an issue. It still will be.
Yes.
Because most of the guys on the depth chart this year are freshmen, sophomore guys.
Yeah.
Guys that transferred in but haven't played. We're going to see some tough games and probably some mental mistakes and some other things. But I'm excited about McGuire being here, but I just am also,
I was thinking about it last
trying to
night.
temper my expectations on the actual win-loss column.
I was thinking about it last night. I think you're going to win 10 games in the regular season.
In the regular season.
Yeah. And then you woke up and
Here's it. No. Here's
you're
this.
worried.
I think you'll drop the NC State game.
Yeah.
It's early test on the road, and then because of the culture that's been built, you come back home. You get right against Texas,
Yeah.
who I think is going to win the Big 12. Save that for another episode.
Oh, my God.
You beat the best team in the Big 12, and you play the heart of your schedule. I think you'll drop one more, probably on the road in Stillwater, something like that. Then you come home to end a, signature season against OU in the Jones. It'll be rocking. You upset OU, finish 10-2.
To Kyle's point, though,
Yeah.
So another college football podcast I listen to, the Solid Verbal, they like offhand were able to say like nobody wants to play Texas Tech this year because everybody's opponent, Texas Tech, falls at the most inconvenient time on the schedule. Texas Tech could catch a bunch of people sleeping this year, just on where we fall on their schedule.
If you're 5-6 and you're playing Oklahoma in Lubbock for the right to go to a bowl,
An OU team with a first-year head coach, period. Not first year at OU, first year ever as head coach. Group of 5 transfer quarterback. That's the other thing is the quarterback play, conference-wide, is wide open.
yeah.
You got fired up.
I think you're being a little harsh on Dylan Gabriel, though.
I don't think I am.
It's group of
We'll
5.
see.
Well, no, yeah, sure, but to automatically just dismiss him because he's a Group of 5 quarterback.
I mean, he's not. A
We
national
started
champion.
a Rice transfer.
If
Come
you're,
on
if,
now.
if you're OU and you're the second most successful college football program post-World War II, I feel like you should be doing better than
Well, they lost
getting
their,
UCF's leftovers.
but they lost those quarterbacks to transfer when their head coach left.
You got fired up at the Rabbits comments Big 12 Media Days.
Yeah.
That's part of what made me think, okay, shoot, we're about to win 10 games.
Hold on. Brent Venables.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard the phrase,
I know where this is going already.
got a water hose in my mouth? What was it?
I think he was trying to illustrate that he was drinking from a fire hose.
Yes.
As in he was learning a lot at one time, but the way he phrased it was weird because he was like, I've still got this fire hose stuck in my mouth and I'm
Blowing and going.
taking big gulps of the, I don't know.
Yeah, then he said they're blowing and going.
Yeah, it was
Also, did y'all see the OU graphic that was like dirty hard works done in the dark?
weird. No.
They don't got lights up there,
They put
Norman?
that out.
Is that like the secret
No
is in the
electricity.
dirt on steroids?
Dirty, comma, hard, comma, work. Done in the
You know
dark.
what they should have done? They should have put at least one of those words in quotes.
Wait, hold on.
Dirty.
You said dirty, comma, work, comma.
I think. No, dirty hard.
Dirty work.
Dirty hard
hard.
work.
Done dirt cheap.
Maybe it's
Then-
dirty. No, I don't know that there were commas in the thing.
Oh,
but
yeah, I was about to say, the way it's phrased then is like they're separating all three of those as
dirty's done in the dark.
dirty's on the word.
Hard's done
Hard
in
starting in the dark. Which, I mean, it is Oklahoma. So
the... Yeah, I don't know what they're doing up there.
It's not in the dirt, it's in the dark.
I'm not sold.
The secret's in the dirt.
I'm not sold on any Big 12 team. Is really my issue and why I think it's wide open.
I think Oklahoma State will be similar to what they were last year.
They lost Jim Knowles and Spencer Sanders is still their quarterback
Well, they did what they did last year with Spencer Sanders.
with Jim Knowles.
and a defensive line.
They,
that could
they
eat.
gave Spencer Sanders
Jim Knowles coaches
4
the
downs from the
defense.
1 to win a Big 12 title, and they couldn't do it. Jim Knowles was a great
Yeah, but-
defensive coordinator. Have they ever had a defense like that without Jim Knowles?
I think you're confusing what I said, Kyle.
I don't think I am.
I mean,
Is Spencer Sanders playing defense this year? Or?
I think they can win 10 games again.
They might. They won't do it how they did last year.
I mean, Tech's going to win 10 games too. So.
Yeah, we'll be right there with them.
Only 10? What was it you asked the other day? How many 50 burgers is Zach Gilly going to get?
Yeah.
15?
You want to set the over-under on that?
15 this year.
God, I hope he brings back the screen pass. I've missed it so much.
We've thrown screens.
That's
Like, we
pretty
just-
much exclusively what Yost did.
Yeah,
Bubble screen,
just
bubble
bring
screen,
them all
bubble
back.
screen.
It's good. It's good offense. It's
I think
fun.
you're going
You
to
got
have an
the personnel
elevated
for it.
screen game.
You got Miles Price. You get the ball in his hands, and you got a bunch of 6'5", 220 receivers out there blocking.
I will say Xavier White, Chidarius Townsend, those guys on bubble screens and tunnel screens, I think will be good.
How seriously do you think people are going to take my 10-win forecast?
More serious than you think they should.
Like as serious as the
How
Zach
serious are
Evans?
you taking it?
I don't know. I could see it happening.
Hey, it could happen.
Do y'all have any takeaways from Big 12 Media Days?
Besides Fourth Worth.
Fort Worth.
Nobody has fun like the Red Raiders do.
Yeah.
They did seem like they had some good fun. Good, clean fun.
They had a good time.
Tyree Wilson.
He's a mountain of a man.
Looking
Good
like
Lord.
Derrick Henry or Sean Oakman in those
Dude.
pictures.
I feel like that was intentional. Like, okay,
Samantha-
my man wears a 38-inch inseam. Let's give him a 34.
Put him by Miles Price.
Yeah.
So my wife said,
Yeah.
"Hey, this photo looks like it's been shopped." I was like, "Nah, he's just big."
Well, his arms are the size of his head. Like even not just looking at his height, like his close-ups. You like look at his shirt sleeve and you're like, okay, yeah, his biceps are as big around as his head is.
Yeah.
It's insane.
A coworker of mine noticed that, McGuire's time, when it was time for him to have his conference, there were people actually asking him questions. Because I think last year was just kind of crickets. Kind of like, oh,
Well, yeah.
still got 18 minutes left. So,
Well, then
any
Matt was
questions?
like, I guess that's it. No more questions?
Brutal.
Yeah, it was rough. But McGuire, everybody was asking him all sorts of
There's
questions.
a throng over there.
Oh, yeah.
A throng.
Yeah, a multitude.
You know, I ran into a throng this weekend, Rob, at Cardinal Sports Center because Regino Barbecue had their mobile food truck out there. There's a throng of people in line to grab some barbecue. So I
Yeah.
had.
What'd you get?
Well, they were playing John Mayer while I waited in line. Loved that. Offering free water because it was hot out there. I got a little bit of sausage, some ribs, and brisket, and I got the brisket burger. So I had Regino for lunch on Saturday, dinner Saturday, and lunch today.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Man, I am all
Buddy of
about
mine.
Fantastic.
all of these barbecue places coming up with, well, we got to have burgers now.
Yeah.
This is I welcome this trend. I'm so excited about
And
it.
they're so good.
It's hard to
Yes.
go get like a fast food burger after you
It
have
ruins
a
you.
Regino brisket burger or something like that.
Yep.
Buddy independently went, unbeknownst to me, and was raving about the brisket ribs and cream corn, the green chili cream corn.
That cream corn hits, man.
So good.
I still
It's
think
so good.
the cheddar jack sausage. Is
Yeah, the jalapeno sausage.
Oh,
Jalapeno cheddar.
so
Oh, yeah.
good.
So when I went, I got a jalapeno cheddar burn ends 2-meat plate with a Texas Twinkie.
Yes.
You got to get the Texas Twinkie.
Oh, so good.
Related note, the Jones food scene, not great.
I saw an article about this
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
Who
People
wrote
are
that?
saying.
Brilliant guy. Food and what is it? Food and sports clashing at the goal line. Almost said food and politics.
That's us.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's us.
We love talking
Food and
politics.
politics clashing at the goal line. What do you guys? What would you like? Legitimately, not like, prime rib from Las Brisas,
Yeah.
but legitimately, what could you see in the Jones, and what would you want in the Jones?
Brisket nachos.
See, I think that'd be awesome, and that would be easy.
Yeah. Everybody's got.
I mean, it'd be expensive because it's in the Jones, but
Well, they have them at the baseball games.
yeah.
You can do it.
And I think like the fried cheese from
Oh, yeah.
Spanky's would be just do booth of fried cheese.
Tacos from somebody like Taqueria Outlaw or somewhere Jalisco's. People like Jalisco's a lot.
I put Taco Villa in the article, but
Hey, I like Taco
West
Bell.
Texas.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Taco Bell, y'all.
I think people would love that to see either one, like big national brands. I think Chick-fil-A used to set up kind of by the student section. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah, just did the sandwich.
But like a mix of national brands like that everybody likes and local
it was a
brands.
Whataburger.
You know, if you could get if, like Two Dogs had a beer station or Regino had a food
Jimmy's
truck out there.
Margs.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
open that up to
That's
anybody.
a dangerous game to play.
Just like, hey, like
I think they'd have to half pour, but
yeah.
like just open up to local food places.
yeah.
Like, hey, we've got 10 slots for this game, and it's $500, and you take whatever you make.
It'd be cool if it was a
I mean,
rotating thing too.
Yeah.
just
that'd
like
be awesome.
you can only sign up
Staff it yourself.
for
I was
3
gonna
games.
say, I think that's part of the problem because like the concession stands are staffed by a staffing company, and a small local restaurant might have a hard time getting enough people trained to.
But if it's just for one weekend,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm open to it. I hope they could make something like that work.
absolutely.
Because right now, I mean, you just have what everybody else has. You can go get a hot dog, pretzel,
Right.
But it'd be cool to have some local type offerings there for sure.
Well, even if like in the South End Zone, if this is something they come up with, and it's just because Kirby alluded to some concessions and stuff down there, but I just don't know what if it food trucks,
Yeah, you mentioned food trucks at one
that
point.
kind of stuff down there on the South End Zone in that Foyer or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I know we're completely speculating, but the thought of just like some food trucks rolling up in there is just very appealing. And does Allsup's have a food truck? Can they?
No, but they're
is there a Yes Way food truck?
By that time, they're going to be across from the Jones.
That's right, with their cool hip Allsup's bar
with no gas, but you can go buy food and drinks.
Yeah. Gas comes later.
No fuel.
Yeah.
No unleaded, but plenty of gas.
Plenty of gas. It's a byproduct. It's efficient.
Interesting. Well, so not that I'm like the first one that ever thought of that, but and again, it's not like the Jones is bad. It's not a bad experience. It certainly was last year in week 1, but that wasn't Texas Tech's fault. There were just some issues with the staffing, but I don't know.
I think a 5-alarm wrap from Caprock Cafe would hit the spot too.
Absolutely.
Because that's what you got to think of. Like you said, you can't. Well, you want a rack of ribs.
Yeah.
Like let's
people
eat
like
that.
Italian garden spaghetti and meatballs.
You want to eat that at 95 degrees outside?
It's like cast iron grilled chicken fried steak.
Yeah, let me.
So you're gonna eat a chicken fried steak at the game?
I'm gonna get my hamburger steak on, man. I just got to get me some
pink sauce,
some smothered in mushroom gravy. This is
like calzones, a slice, that kind of stuff.
I wonder if they're like already under contract though with a vending service, and like there's some legal hurdles to work through.
Oh yeah, and I bet they couldn't do it before kickoff of this year. But
like, do you have to hire an attorney to navigate those?
If that's I got you.
I mean, if they do, I would recommend Barnett, Howard, and Williams, of course, a law firm started by 3 Texas Tech grads. I'm sure they'd be willing to help out. Office in Fort Worth.
They love the Jones.
Yeah, I'm sure they love the Jones. They're officed in Fort Worth, so fellow West Texans, and they handle cases all across Texas. They're one of the only law firms in Texas that is certified for Title IX student representation. They have defended students, including scholarship athletes, in Title IX litigation at all of the major universities in Texas. They also handle catastrophic injury cases if you burn your hands on a piping hot chicken fried steak that just got off the skillet. And for listeners in the Fort Worth area, they handle criminal defense and family law matters. They hope you never need them, but they're here if you do. You can learn more about Barnett, Howard, and Williams by visiting their website, bhwlawfirm.com.
Michael, are you a cast iron guy?
As in the restaurant or the utensil?
The utensil. You just seem like a cast iron guy.
I don't use it that much because I am, what do you call it? I'm very nervous about caring for a cast iron properly.
Spencer, you a cast iron guy?
Yes, sir.
He's done queso on the smoker in cast iron.
Guarantee you Kyle has never used a cast iron pan.
Trying to think here. Probably not.
He'd probably throw it in the dishwasher.
Yeah. Well, I washed mine with soap today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm anxious about it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You can if it's seasoned properly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, I scraped a bunch of my seasoning off because I'm trying to re-season it.
With a steel wool or what?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I took it all the way to the bone, baby. Then I dried it on the stovetop. Come at me.
Rusting as we speak.
No, it's dry. Then I oiled it with grapeseed oil.
I actually have my grandmother's cast iron that my wife makes fried chicken in.
Yeah, ooh, nice.
Yeah. That thing came over on,
cast irons.
I don't know, like a wagon from Tennessee in the 1800s.
I don't know. The Mayflower or something.
On the Mayflower.
I almost said the Mayflower,
Wow.
but then I thought, well, if anyone of my family's listening, they're going to be like, well, actually, it wasn't from the Mayflower.
What if somebody from your family were listening? What if?
What if? What if I stumble? What if I fall?
Thanks, DC Talk.
If I make fools of us all.
You want to talk what if moments?
Yeah.
Dog days of summer. We don't have a ton of news here to report. So we asked the people, what are the top what if moments in Texas Tech history? We'll get to some of the more unique ones, but I think the top 4 were combinations of the national championship game against Virginia, of course. What would happen had you beaten Oklahoma and Norman in 2008 in football? A lot surrounding Adam James, Mike Leach, Ruffin McNeil, so we'll just lump that together. And then the 4th was the 2020 College World Series, had that not been canceled due to COVID. There were others, like I said, we'll get into some of the others that go a little further back because all these are pretty recent history. Which one do y'all want to pick the scab off first?
I think at the time that baseball one was very popular. Rombach was hot early. Jace Young looked like he had some pop even that year. Brian Klein was hitting like 500. Parker Kelly was hitting 300. Playing slick defense over there. And then the pitching staff you had with Brutowski and all those guys. Birdsell. What's that kid's name? Bonin. Bryce Bonin. He was still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Micah Dallas. I mean, that is beefy. I think you really could have made some noise.
But counterpoint to that, Tennessee this year went 84-3 or whatever. It didn't even get out of the Super Regional.
Yeah, but I think you were legitimately built for the postseason with that team.
Yeah, I'm just saying
if they had one pitcher.
I'm just saying that one doesn't sting because like
you had a strong
you hadn't
rotation.
even started Big 12 play. I don't think.
Yeah.
And so you just had a long ways to go. It didn't feel like you were right there on the cusp.
Right.
Like the basketball national championship or something like that.
Yeah, and in the basketball one, there's like 4 moments in there that you're like, okay, one thing happens differently. Spencer, would you have fouled up 3?
I would now.
I wouldn't have. There's still 20 seconds left. Like, you still had to score again.
He made the shot with 13. Is that right? So, yeah, it would have been – because they hurried a shot.
Right.
So, yeah, probably 19, 20 seconds when they got the ball, Virginia.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you had the opportunity to score.
I've seen the numbers that fouling up 3 doesn't really change the outcome.
Yeah.
Your likelihood to win or not.
I mean, you're not.
I would have called timeout, though, and said
Well, yeah.
no threes.
Yeah.
You know, if they drive, let them drive. But if you're going to let them drive, why not foul and make them earn it at the free throw line?
I think more in the back into that game, the overtimes, was the phantom out of bounds call and then the Moretti no trip with Guy.
Yeah. I don't even think through the overtime scenarios because it was right there.
Yeah, if you would have, if
in regulation, the other
even
thing,
further back, if Tariq Owens hadn't been hurt, maybe he closes out.
Yeah,
on.
maybe you win by 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing I think about too is not just the corner 3 that DeAndre Hunter hit, but going back the other way. You know, that wasn't a buzzer beater. You got the possession, and your hometown kid Jarrett Culver took the last shot. Had he made that at the buzzer, being from Lubbock, that's like
legendary.
That's a better all-time moment than had DeAndre Hunter just missed the 3 on the other end.
Yeah.
So I think back to both of those last 2 shots. Like, had DeAndre Hunter just missed or had Jarrett Culver made the shot, I mean, he like skyrockets to Cheryl Swoops type territory in terms of how we view all-time Red Raiders. So,
oh, yeah.
That one sucked. And I was there, and the first half, y'all might recall, wasn't really going our way. And I was like, you know what? Hell of a season. Virginia's a better team. This was a great experience coming to the Final Four. We'll just tip our hat to him. And then he came all the way back, and we're this freaking close to winning a national title. And
yeah, you're going to feel that one until, Mark Adams wins one this year.
Yeah. It's hard to swallow.
Speaking of swallowing, what was the other one?
Norman in 2008.
Pretty much just 08. 08 in general.
Yeah.
A lot would have had to change.
I want to talk through this one. Yeah. So we did get quote tweeted by I Know You account. They're like, you mean what if you hadn't lost by 44 points?
Yeah. What if they only scored 52 on us?
So you weren't really close to winning that game, but
we'll flip it around. Like, what if Crabtree got pushed out of bounds, or what if Gideon
caught that,
did catch the interception and the game ends then?
Wouldn't even mattered. Yeah.
Well, if Crabtree gets pushed out of bounds,
you kick a field goal.
And we talk about Linwood the way we talk about Crabtree.
Yeah. Practically.
I mean, instead of the clip of Crabtree running to the end zone, it's us lining up for a kick with 1 second left, and the kid they pulled out of the stands being the hero of that game.
And you don't get 6 on the field penalties.
Yeah. Well, that's what
I was awesome though.
Yeah.
The end on like an interception though. That was awesome.
What if though?
Technically a fumble, but
what if Crabtree had stepped out of bounds,
but then they never called it,
but by an inch, and the refs are trying to blow it dead. Crabtree runs into the end zone. The students think we won the game. They storm the field. They review it, find out there's 1 second left, and he stepped out of bounds. But they back up Linwood 30 yards from the penalties, and he has to nail like a 55-yarder instead of a chip shot.
62-yarder.
That would have been a rough way to lose a game. The students are like kicking themselves,
especially because you were up.
Yeah.
So much. I mean, that game.
From the opening whistle, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, that first offensive possession was, but then like obviously you punted, you nailed them down there at the 2.
Got the safety.
You
right?
set the tone on their very first play. And you're like,
Yeah.
nah, man, this
Whitlock.
defense is for sure. Well, then like on another deep defensive possession on that side of the field, you converted a pick 6.
Yeah, Charbonnet. All right, so let's talk through it. Let's say you play 45 points better in Norman. I'll remind y'all, you had to beat Baylor in overtime the next week. Like, you almost lost to RG3 and Baylor.
I was at that game. It was brutal.
That game also, like, Harrell shattered his hand. Crabtree almost broke his ankle.
I think it was also just the emotional letdown.
It was also like Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah. Nobody
Yes.
Which is still a thing that like we were playing Thanksgiving games.
I
in
came
Lubbock.
back. I came back from Thanksgiving to go to that.
I was at that
Steam
game.
Fest.
So I share this with Michael actually last time we recorded. One of my most viewed pictures online is a picture I took of the stadium at that game. It gets used all the time. Like one of the Brennan Jones, the offensive line coach from a few years ago, had it as this like Twitter background. I was like, hey man, I took that photo.
It's the best thing to
a
come out of that
time
game.
ago.
So let's say you...
Was that RG3's freshman year?
Yeah.
Did y'all hear the story the other day with Mac Brown? Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Mac Brown and RG3?
Wanted him as a safety?
No, he was like, he met him on the field after the Baylor game that Texas just hammered Baylor. He's like, hey man, sorry. I'm offering you scholarship right now. Come to Texas. RG3 was like, no, I'm already at Baylor.
RG3 said that? Like he reported on this story? RG3 is the one who said that this happened?
I don't know if it's Mac Brown or RG3, but one of the two. Probably RG3. He
I don't
would
know
say
if I
that.
believe it if that came from RG. That
Yeah.
sounds a little bit like all the other team's coaches were begging me to come play there, which he was great in college. But
Right. Well, I'm sure Mac wasn't like, hey, here's a
yeah,
scholarship.
that's
but
a little bit on the nose.
like, hey,
It's got the
like we
paperwork
messed
in hand.
up. Yeah.
The pen. I need you to sign this.
Something like that, though. Anyways, what were you saying?
So let's say you advance to the Big 12 championship game and play Mizzou.
Yeah.
I assume most people, when they ask this what if scenario, are assuming that you win that game. One, you have your first out and only outright conference championship since the Eisenhower administration. So that's a big feather in your cap, no matter what happens in the national championship game.
Who did OU play that year?
Mizzou. It
No,
was
in
still
the
Chase
national
Daniel and
Florida.
Oh, Florida. Tim Tebow.
And they beat
Dude,
them.
that roster.
Dude, Florida's roster that year was
Tim Tebow,
ridiculous.
Percy Harvin, the Pouncey brothers, Aaron Hernandez. I don't even know who they had on defense. They had a safety who went in the first round.
Yeah, I
can't remember his name.
I don't like our chances against Florida that year.
Bunch of killers.
If we would have got, if we had
Probably
made it
hung a
through,
bunch of points on you.
You ever wonder how Tebow like navigated that locker room? Like you have a saint. You have Saint Tebow on one end of the spectrum, and a guy who's in prison, or not anymore, but who is locked up for literal murder.
Locked up.
Not while Tebow was team captain.
Well, there's rumors that they were executing people down there in Florida.
What?
The Pouncey brothers.
I haven't
And
heard about
Hernandez.
this. Oh.
They killed another guy in college. You don't hear that?
So let's say, all right, let's play the scenario out. Let's say you win the Big 12 championship against Missouri,
I don't want to play him now.
and then Florida beats you by 21 in a non-competitive
Yeah,
BCS national title.
You
game.
lost to Alabama that year.
What happens with the program after that?
I mean, does Mike Leach leave then? With like,
Absolutely.
hey, you won the. He was trying to leave every year anyways.
He would have left. He absolutely would have left.
So
Someone
then
would
you
have
don't
offered
have-
him a lot of money.
Yeah, then you don't have to go through the Adam James stuff. He leaves where he wants to go, probably somewhere in the Pac-12. Still,
And we still get Tommy Tuberville. We just get him a year early.
somebody.
And then we get rid of him a year early. And then Cliff is not qualified to be his successor, and you hire somebody totally different in 2012.
Cliff wasn't qualified.
2012, yeah.
I think that's
How
a
dare you.
bigger what if to me. What if you hired some old fogey in 2013
you did.
and then in
Oh.
13
Oh, okay.
and then money whipped Cliff to just be the OC and say, hey, give us 2 years, you can be the head coach in 2 years.
Okay, here's an interesting...
So like Dan Grobe.
Yeah,
Type.
Jim Grobe. Yeah.
That's the point. I don't
Yeah,
know.
get some good Grobe guy in there.
Get a Dan or a Jim.
Let him teach. Because
Get a Walter.
another thing with Cliff, all he had was Kevin Sumlin. It's like when Kevin Sumlin's your mentor, Like, you don't know how to run a program.
Okay, I'm looking at the 2008 coaching carousel because if
Yeah.
y'all's hypothesis is that Leach would leave,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
it'd be to a bigger program.
Yes.
Interesting. Michigan Wolverines. That's when they hired Rich Rod.
Oh, you would have got
Oh,
him.
he
You
would've
missed out
been-
on him. Let's
Yeah.
bring him home.
So you think Leach
He
goes
was
to
number
Michigan?
2. Yeah.
No, then Rich Rod probably goes to Alabama because he turned down Alabama. Well, that was a year prior. His wife didn't like Tuscaloosa, so he stayed at West Virginia one more year. Saban was hired at Alabama, and then Rich Rod went to Michigan. I'm looking for some Nebraska. They sent Bill Callahan packing in 2008.
Is that Bo Pelini?
A&M had turnover in 2008. Yeah, that would have been
Yeah, I was
when
about to
Pelini
say
was hired.
that was that Sherman?
Dang, I would hire Bo Pelini in
Who
a
was it?
heartbeat.
No,
Let's
back
see
then.
here. Dennis Francione finally stepped down. Yeah. That was when Francione left.
Okay,
2008. The Aggies decided to lure former Green Bay Packers head coach Mike Sherman from his job as the Houston Texans offensive coordinator.
He didn't last long.
UCLA, I bet Leach would have gone out west.
Yeah.
Just kicked his feet up in L.A.
He tried every year.
Interestingly, Wazoo also, he wouldn't have left for that job coming off
No.
a natty appearance. But Arkansas, does he go to the SEC? I don't know.
I
Ole
want to
Miss?
say he applied or interviewed for that UCLA job in 08.
So maybe that's the
Did he not?
trajectory.
I'm not sure.
Because he likes to go to Key West in Florida, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I know that's opposite coast, but maybe he just wants to go to L.A. So who do you hire in
Bo Pelini.
so a lot of people,
I love that guy.
the next question was what would have happened if you had hired either Ruffin McNeil or Art Briles in 2009 after Leach was dismissed?
Yeah.
I think a Ruffin, McNeil, and Lincoln Riley ticket would have been a good transitional.
Well, they went and had a
100%.
bunch of success at Eastern Carolina.
They did.
And if you could have said, hey, Ruffin, give us 4 years, and then just hired Lincoln, I think you'd be in a good position.
Until
That's-
he bolts for USC.
That was my biggest what if was after the 09 season, like when Ruffin was interim. It was like, you've got the staff in place.
Yeah.
Just make it official. But it was too Mike Leach tainted, apparently, or whatever. Whatever excuse they came up with to not retain which would have been like one of
Yeah.
the best coaching
That's what they
combinations.
called it.
Yeah, I don't think they could separate it. They couldn't look at it separately.
But McNeil
without
and-
emotionally looking at it.
McNeil and Riley together
Yeah.
at Tech would have been great.
When the fan base was so fractured, I remember there being a grassroots movement. People loved Ruffin McNeil, and I think people would have still been opinionated about the Leach firing, but bringing on a guy as well liked as Ruffin McNeil and as well known among this fan base, I think would have helped heal that wound a little sooner than getting a carpetbagger that nobody cared for, and then he sucks for 3 years, and then you get Cliff, which was a nice, energetic hire for the fan base, but then the results weren't really there on the field. You wonder if, had it been Ruffin McNeil instead, if you kind of would have turned the page from Leach earlier than a decade or whatever it's been.
Well, and another what if in Cliff, what if they didn't extend him after 7 games? Could you have gotten out of that a couple years earlier? Not that you'd wanted to, but
I don't think the extension caused them not because the next possible time that you would have fired him would have been the year before he was fired, right?
yeah.
Like
yeah.
and Hokut says regardless of the outcome in Texas, his fate was already sealed. No, he won that game and saved his job.
Hey, you run out of time, Coach. Want a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Cliff asked to be fired so he could leave. I think that was 100% a mutual decision.
I don't think he was asked. I don't think he asked to be fired. I think not making a bowl. I think had he beaten Baylor or Kansas State in one of those last 2 games,
Yeah.
both very winnable, maybe that scenario would have unfolded. But I also don't think he was like upset. I think he was like, yeah, it's time for me to go.
I think he was burned out, very visibly burned out.
Oh, as much as he's trashed recruiting since then, absolutely.
I was gonna make the same one too.
Just imagine if he hired Joey in 2018, if he got 1 more year, and he hired Joey to be his recruiter.
Associate head coach and just yeah. God, that would have been awesome. Similar question. Briles was in the mix back in 2009. What do
Yeah.
y'all think would have happened had Texas Tech been able to lure Briles away from Baylor?
We'd
I
have
think
enjoyed
Texas-
success for a while.
I think Texas Tech would have won a Big 12 championship.
Yep.
I'd agree with that.
I think
Yeah,
you
well,
would have
and-
seen what he did at Baylor at Texas Tech.
But I think I don't think you would have had the situation at Texas Tech that you had at Baylor.
Why not?
I think, well, for one, I think there's better oversight here because it's a public university. The Title IX stuff works better. They're not trying to hide anything. So I think, and it's a bigger city. So I think the police department, all that, is better equipped. But that was also a campus-wide issue at Baylor. That was not a football program issue. It was a campus-wide issue that involved the football program.
What would he have still tried to do it? Or
We didn't
or-
try to get kids to rape people, Spencer. We're like, hey, I'll play you more if you rape somebody.
That's not what I meant. Like, would he have still been?
100% he still would have skirted the rules.
Let me ask you this:
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, it's like would he have still been as purposefully hands off, looked away,
Yeah.
and basically allow that to happen?
Yeah. Probably.
But I agree too that I don't think he would have gotten away with it, at least not to the same extent, because look at the context of where Baylor was as a program when he was hired there. They were the doormat. They were
Yeah.
what Kansas is now.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people in that community, whether it was the police, the administration, were willing to like, hey, we're winning at football finally, so maybe let's turn the other way. But had he been hired here, it would have been after one of the most successful decades in our program's history.
Right. You can win without doing
I
that.
think the people would have been like, you know what, if you're not going to do this ethically, you know, we'll just hire a third coach, Leach, Bryles, and whoever we replace you with to win 10 games and do it the right way.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I hope would have happened had something occurred. But I also agree on the public school oversight that would have been a little bit different than what happened at Baylor.
Because it's also like you can cover stuff up much better at Baylor than you can at Texas Tech.
One last point on this. Baylor also had a history of issues in their athletic department before Bryles. They had the basketball
Yeah.
murder cover-up.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law, big fan of the show, worked there in the 90s and just kind of has told me before, like, there was a rotten culture there even
Yeah.
back in the 90s. Not to say that Texas Tech has always been perfect in every facet by any stretch, but I don't think Bryles showed up at Baylor and, like, all of a sudden was causing problems. Like, I think that athletic department had issues prior.
Well, they're Baptist.
Hey.
Jokes.
You bring up church a lot for a podcast that really doesn't have anything to do with religion.
Yeah, where's your covered dish?
Just
Shouldn't there
today.
be like a potluck here?
What's your favorite potluck dish? I'd go funeral potatoes
God, those are so good.
with the cornflakes on top.
What I like is I like to have put together a sample of the 4 different macaroni and cheeses.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just gonna get a scoop of
You get
all
the
of them.
box one, and then it's like the one with the crust on top.
Mrs. Reynolds back in Merkel First Baptist.
Yeah. Go Batters.
Go Badgers. She made the best lemonade. That was the
Ooh.
thing.
We never had drinks at all.
Really fresh lemonade, lots of fruit in it. Oh, it was like a. Oh, is Mr. Reynolds bringing that lemonade? Okay, yeah, I'll go. What am I sitting through? Sure.
Texas Tech would also be the last Big 12 program to have played for a national title in football had they made it in 2008.
That's not true.
Because Texas played in 09.
Texas did the year after.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Garrett Gilbert.
Hey, what about this?
Checkmate.
What if Colt McCoy hadn't gotten hurt? How about that?
I think UT wins that game.
I think so too.
Mac Brown stays another
Mac Brown's there
3 or 4
longer.
years.
Old Buttertooth.
Oh, Mac Brown would still be there.
You think he'd still be there
They
now?
wouldn't have fired him if he wanted. Well, I guess it's been
They
a
would
decade.
have. I think they would
Do you
have.
remember when I
at some point.
made like some great historical point and immediately you're like, except for the very next year? Hand up, I forgot about that.
Still, but beyond them, yeah.
So yeah,
You're right.
You'd been the second
Well,
most
you
recent by
you
one
could have
year.
defended that like, well, Texas Tech would have just sustained their success and
Well,
not allowed
Texas,
Texas to reach.
They're an SEC school.
Yeah,
So-
that's
Well,
true.
they'll never sniff the
But,
championship
but
now.
you think about it, it's crazy that it's been. This will be the 13th season, I guess, since that 2009 season when Texas made it, and OU has made the playoff. Texas has been close. I think they went to like the Rose Bowl or something after. I think it was 2 years. I can't remember. Either way, Oklahoma State got close in 2011, but nobody's. Baylor and TCU almost made the playoff in 2014, but nobody's played in the national championship game since 2009.
Well, Oklahoma State. Why did they lose Bedlam that year?
They lost Iowa State.
Oh, it was Iowa State. I was like,
Yeah,
I thought
3-9 Iowa State.
Yeah,
team.
they lost at the very end.
Yeah.
And then that took them to some bowl, and I think
And
they
they
just
had that,
curb
like,
stomped
2011?
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, they had that like
They
was
beat
Whedon.
Stanford.
fullback type running back running in at the end. Some
That game changed college football.
stocky,
Shut up.
stocky white dude.
Hey, I will say on that though, here's a what if. What if Texas didn't swing their Peters around and try to get the Longhorn Network instead of the Big 12 Network?
Swing Your Sword was right there for you.
Causing-
We were talking about Leach and you missed it.
I was talking about Texas. Causing Nebraska and Missouri to leave because the Big 12 obviously is not as good now because you hadn't played a national championship. You played in like a national championship every other year before everyone left.
Would you be had the old Big 12 stayed together, would you be the one in a position to poach USC and Oregon, and you're the one who creates the power conference or the super conference?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, you'd still be third, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no, because the Big Ten wouldn't have Nebraska,
but Nebraska sucks.
True.
but they're a big brand. Like, had the old
Yeah.
Big 12 gotten USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington, they would have been at 16 teams.
When would the Pac-12 have Colorado State? Like, who would have they have gotten?
They're done.
Who would they? Well, even back 10 years ago, who would they have gotten instead of Colorado?
Boise?
Utah,
Boise.
yeah, I don't know.
Boise State will never be.
Would
a
they have
power
had to
program.
cave on
Fresno?
BYU and finally take them?
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like BYU was just kind of waiting for the right moment.
TCU.
But yeah, you wouldn't have TCU and you wouldn't have West Virginia. Well, I guess TCU might be in the Pac-12.
I don't know. Yeah, they could have gone TCU and SMU and just gone heavy on Dallas.
When I wonder if you would have expanded even back then or at first, if you would have stayed at 12, if you would have got to 14 or 16. Because the SEC and the Big Ten both went to 14. I wonder if you would have matched.
Yeah, I don't know.
What if Bob Bowlesby stayed at Stanford?
Where he belongs.
We are going deep into the rabbit hole here.
What if Dan Beebe didn't suck?
Well, that's a little too far of a stretch, I think.
We also got another what if in the same vein as the 2008 regular season finale. Texas Tech plays Houston. I think they were 10-0 going into that game.
What a time that was.
They lose to Houston, wind up playing in the Blue Bonnet Bowl against Nebraska, lose that. So they lost their last two games of the season. But had they beaten Houston, the theory is, as undefeated Southwest Conference champions, they would have played in the Cotton Bowl that year for a shot at the national title. Like, you bump up that 2008 timeline. If Texas Tech is somehow able to play in or win a national championship in the 70s, does that change their, 50 years, 45 years later? Does that change their 45-year trajectory in a meaningful way? Because I'll say this, Clemson won a national title in 1980, didn't really do anything for them until practically 40 years later.
Right.
BYU won one in 1984, Colorado won one in 1994. Neither one of those did a ton for them. Does it change Texas Tech's long-term trajectory?
Yeah, do you get a different coach in? Do you not have to go through a couple of the coaches you went through? I saw a bunch of what-ifs on Spike, too. What if you fired Spike earlier and all that kind of stuff? Because he kind of floated through the back half of his career, but...
He was just so likable.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
it was
you
really
were
tough.
You were letting Spike,
It's like ripping a Band-Aid
Yeah.
off.
I remember when Cliff was here, it was remarked to me, like, if he's going 9-3 every year, he can be how he is personality-wise, closed off. But if you're going 6-6, you have to be visible in the community. And
Yeah.
that's what Spike Dykes, he was likable, and he went 6-5, and he beat A&M or UT every year, and it was just enough to keep everybody happy enough.
Yeah, and forget about the North Texas loss from the
Right,
first
yeah.
Yeah, because people would interact with Spike. They might, oh man, Texas Tech's just not very good this year, and then they'd see him at the supermarket, and he'd introduce himself and shake their hand and make them feel like the
Yeah.
only person in the world, and they go back, well, there's just a bunch of guys, good guys out there, just good folks.
Good old boy down there.
Yeah,
I've
change your mind.
I did this during COVID when there was absolutely no sports going on. That had you hired Rich Rodriguez instead of Leach in 2000, Rich Rod would have had the same run at Tech that he had at West Virginia. Big 12 titles, BCS bowl games, and he would have left around the time that you could have plucked Gary Patterson from TCU, who was destroying the WAC but not a Power 5 team yet, and then you'd have had the run that Gary Patterson had at TCU at Texas Tech, and stacked success, as we like to say. You go from Rich Rod to Gary Patterson and then Joey Maguire.
It just doesn't feel right.
I know.
It feels so
Could
wrong.
you imagine having to defend a coach that needs a
I was going to
towel
say,
girl?
the opposite of Spike Dykes' likability is Gary Patterson's unlikability.
Yeah, we've come full circle to Maguire is way more similar to Spike Dykes than anyone we've had in between.
No, if
Yeah,
Gary
you
was
would
a
have
head
had the
coach,
4-2-5 and have 20 defensive backs in the.
if Gary was a head coach, you'd be like, dude, you better win 10 games because nobody likes you. You better win 10 games.
Well,
if you go 8-4, that's not going to be enough for this community. To
We
get
would have
behind
just
you.
forced him to get his musical side out sooner.
Take a step back.
he'd have played at the Blue Light,
Oh, damn, yeah.
drinking that burn vodka.
Whew. Probably being an investor.
Speaking of investing, if your business needs some help, call a couple of Red Raiders. Cole Roberts, his dad. Go ahead.
Yeah, diversified lenders. Through a unique combination of accounts receivable financing and equipment leasing, Diversified Lenders is uniquely qualified to help you get the working capital you need, not later, now. They offer the following: factoring, invoice purchasing, equipment finance and leasing, asset-based lending, government finance and leasing. Check them out at diversifiedlenders.com.
Big fan of Cole Roberts.
He loves us.
We love him.
He loves you.
Yeah, he loves me.
I think he hates me.
He
but
loves.
That's okay.
He loves hating you.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But you, I mean, you're kind of a sensitive guy. I mean, I know I'm the sensitive Red Raider, but
I was going to say, you're the sensitive one.
You're easy to poke fun of.
What do the 23 personnel guys think about conference realignment?
You go first.
How do you mean? Like, what do I think about
I'm
it?
talking, what teams do you want? What network do you want to go with? What do you think of Brett Yormark?
Yeah, not what what he thinks can happen. What do you want to happen?
Let's dream a little.
Yeah.
I love the association with CBS.
Oh,
If that would be a possibility.
yes, it is.
I would absolutely love
Did you
that.
see? Did you see the quotes from the CBS executive?
No.
It's
I
like,
have
oh,
not.
we want to be in the college football
They
world.
keep, like, okay, the Stuart Mandels
They're
of the
flirting a
world
little bit.
are carrying water for the Pac-12 schools.
Yeah.
I feel like CBS is starting to pump up the new Big 12 and position themselves as our media partner.
I think Shayan Jaraja, am I saying that right?
I think so.
He's a mole. He's in there. He's slowly getting them all converted, getting them excited about Big 12 football. He's working for us. He's helping us.
You
out.
have him. You have Dennis Dodd.
Yeah.
Dennis Dodd. I don't know. And then, yeah, those comments that, yeah, we're losing the SEC 230 game every week, but we're going to be in the space of major college football. And that article is like, well, does that count if you're not in the Power 2? Is that major college football? What is that?
What? Oh, my elbow.
You're just working out your elbow. I thought you were giving me a hand signal. Okay.
No.
I think CBS is going to want to be all over. I hope they want to be all over the Big 12 because it's good production quality. You've got 3 windows that 6 teams can play in, and then the rest would be streamed on Paramount. I want to see them play a Thursday or Friday night game, but I asked y'all for y'all's opinion, so that's my.
That's where I would start. Is I would really like to, I know that ESPN Plus I think their prices just went up. We're on the bundle because we have a little one, so we've got Disney Plus and Hulu and all that stuff. So I don't know if it's going to go up for us, but I know it's going up to $10 a month now, and that kind of stings. Basically doubling their price. So CBS, I mean, they do have a CBS Sports channel that not everybody gets, which is kind of tough. But if we're going to the streaming thing, I still think it's very valuable to have a TV station that actually exists, that people like. I think it was in the Discord chat, and maybe it was you who brought it up, but how valuable it is to go to a sports bar and say, hey, put it on ESPN2, put it on CBS, put it on Paramount Network or whatever. We want to watch the game, as opposed to, well, can you load up your ESPN Plus streaming app? Well, this isn't a smart TV, or we don't have the Roku set up, or we don't have a login. And
What channel's ESPN Plus?
yeah, and then you get that all the
on
time
Suddenlink
too.
in Lubbock. Yeah, I think there's a ton of value there. One, the consistency of knowing, okay, we're on CBS or we're on Paramount. Like, I need to purchase Paramount,
Like, okay,
and just have the annual subscription there.
I'll watch Yellowstone reruns. I'll watch
And everybody-
1883.
Everybody has CBS. Not everybody has Fox Sports 2 or ESPNU. everybody has CBS, and like if you look at the TV ratings, it is so much more valuable to be in the ABC or the Fox window than it is the FS1 or ESPN Plus window. I mean, it quadruples your viewership, and usually you're in those slots because you're playing an interesting game. Like those are for teams ranked in the top 25 or whatever. But I think there'd be a ton of value in the consistency of, okay, every week Tech is on CBS or this streaming platform, and not having to wonder, okay, is it Fox, is it ESPN? The other thing that I love about CBS is it gives your conference a unique identity. Like the Big Ten is obviously going to be the Fox conference. The SEC is going to be, the SEC is going to be the ESPN conference. And I feel like the ACC has to think now that they're second fiddle to ESPN. Like all the coverage on SportsCenter and on the ESPN related podcasts are going to talk SEC. They're going to just gloss over the ACC. So I don't want to be one of the other networks, secondary conferences. If you're with CBS and you're alone there, or NBC, but I would prefer CBS, like they're going to promote all your games. They're not worried about promoting Alabama or Ohio State or whoever else. So I think there's a lot of value in that.
They're going to get a lot better talent to work your games too. That's what we're seeing with ESPN. I mean, they've got, 60 games they put on a weekend or whatever it is.
And then, you get the F crew.
Yes.
Could we get Romo on a Saturday call and then
heck yeah,
Sunday?
Hello, friends.
Tony.
And we'd be away from Spencer's favorite, Tim Brando.
Oh, God.
How do you do? Spencer loves that line.
I'm going to mute
CD.
Kyle's microphone the rest of the
TD. I do want Gus Johnson back.
You want to know the moment?
Yes, please. Well, we've never won a Gus Johnson game. Still exciting.
I love Gus Johnson.
He and
Put the biscuit in the basket.
who's his partner?
You're going to a barbecue and you didn't invite me.
The moment
Joe
Tim
Klatt.
Brando lost me
No,
forever.
no, before that.
It was 2015. You were playing in Austin.
Travis Bruffy.
No.
Oh.
It was before that. You ran the play where you hid Jakeem Grant behind the line.
Oh, yeah.
Stuck it between his legs.
Little people, big world.
Tim Brando on that call, he called it a fumble-rooski.
Yeah.
Or a flea flicker, fumble-rooski style.
Yeah.
And that play was neither a flea
Neither.
flicker, nor was it a fumble-rooski. It was just a
handoff.
A handoff.
Yeah.
A trick play handoff. He was like, oh, flea flicker, fumble-rooski style. As Jakeem Grant's like going on the sideline, I was like, that's not what that was, Tim.
No.
And you're a professional. You get paid a lot of money to do this.
Yeah. Tim's bad.
You should know better.
Well, and him and
The next year was Travis
what
Brophy.
was his guy's name?
Spencer
What's his
Tillman?
little- Is it Spencer Tillman?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Who was with Gus Johnson earlier? He's
That's
with
the
Joe
thing-
Klatt now.
That's the thing nobody knows. They just
No,
remember
but
Gus.
but
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
his
Gus.
color guy before Klatt was also good.
Yeah.
Like they were a good pair.
I think it was Spencer.
He and Joel are good too, but
Joel kind of lost me when he was talking about Matt Wells getting fired.
So we're all in on CBS.
Yes. 100%
Sure.
100% on CBS. And I will say this too. If you're just looking for tier 1, like if CBS is going to let you do whatever you want on tier 2 and 3, really down with CBS.
Yeah.
Because then you can, sprinkle a little bit of Fox and still be on Fox Sports 1 and Big Fox and all their channels for your tier 2. And then if you get streaming for your third tier, whether that's Paramount Plus or if you want to go with, Apple or whatever else.
What I have really grown accustomed to is every single basketball and baseball game being available on ESPN Plus at the least, if it's not nationally televised.
Yeah.
I hope that if you are with Paramount Plus, that they have that kind of commitment. Say, Texas Tech baseball is going to be on Paramount Plus every single game.
I would also love a Big 12 Series of the Week on CBS or TBS or TNT. That's another thing about CBS. They own Turner Broadcasting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you could have a Thursday night, Friday night game on TNT,
True TV.
Oh, yeah.
because what are they doing from June to October? They're not airing NHL. They're not airing NBA.
Just reruns of The Closer.
Well,
Yeah.
And all their network TV shows have been surpassed by what's on Netflix and
Hey.
Hulu.
The Big 12 knows drama.
I was looking, too.
Characters welcome.
Hell yeah.
I was looking at some TV ratings, and you can put Houston versus Tulane on a Friday night on
Yeah.
ESPN2. It'll get 1 million viewers.
Nobody's else is watching anything.
I almost am a fan of the Big 12 committing to a certain number of Friday night or Thursday night games because there's no competition. or there's very little competition. You're going against a crappy NFL game on Thursday. You're going against nobody on Friday.
And all
You'll get 1.5 million viewers.
Yeah. And you have recruiting departments now. So it's not like these coaches are out watching games on Friday night. Like, James Blanchard is out in post. James Blanchard is out, in the DFW or whatever, recruiting.
And if it's one a year,
right.
Like, yeah, that's not ideal, but we'll do it once.
Especially if it's on the road.
Yeah.
Well, that's been, they've done that for the last decade roughly with the Thursday night games. There's been at least one.
Have those been the last couple years?
I don't think you had one this year.
Oh, that's a good point. No, Tech didn't. There might have been.
I don't think the Big 12 had them. I think
they
that
may not
stopped in
have.
COVID.
I don't think you've had them since 2018 or 2019.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
think
good
it
point.
stopped in COVID.
But again, like if Kansas State plays Texas Tech on FS1 at 11 a.m., it won't top 500,000 viewers. If those same two teams played on Friday night, it would triple the viewership for the same exact game.
Yeah.
So
Because it's there and people like football and it's on.
Yeah.
We're going to watch
I
it.
think
Even if you're not a Tech fan, you're going to probably watch that game just because it's on your TV.
Especially with the prevalence of sports betting. You
Oh,
say, okay,
sure.
there's 30 games tomorrow on Saturday. There's 2 on Friday.
Especially if it kicked off late at like 8.
Yeah.
I know that's crazy because it's like you're going all the way to midnight. But then, like, weekday traffic is not an issue. You're in and out.
It's the same thing they do on
Tailgate.
Labor Day weekend every year.
Yeah.
They play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Why do they do that? Because if you have all those games on Saturday, some of them are going to get lost in the shuffle. But if you move one of them to Sunday night and the NFL hasn't started yet, it gets huge ratings. I think
Texas
your
Tech
market.
played on a Sunday, on Labor Day weekend against SMU or whatever. That was like that really bad Heat game where they were giving out water bottles.
Was that a Sunday?
That was like the first game of the year for Tuberville, one of his first years.
I don't remember that.
I played on a Sunday.
I know Cliff played at SMU on a Friday, I think it was.
Was that
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, yeah.
Baker
We're like,
Mayfield.
who's this?
First true freshman ever to start in a Big 12 game.
No, it was like they added like the walk on too.
Oh, first true freshman walk on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different than just a walk on, but
Anyways, all right, do we have a mailbag?
Yeah. That was another what if. What if he never transfers? But that's a long rabbit hole of Patrick Mahomes, Jared Stidham, Michael Brewer, all that. But
Yeah.
we don't have to get into that.
No.
When will the lamestream media finally cave and admit that Baton Rouge is actually a part of West Texas?
Any day now. I think people are catching on.
I think it's going to be in the Baton Rouge newspaper as early as tomorrow.
It'll be in the paper?
Yeah.
Well, that's how you know.
Right next to the Big 12 expansion news.
The obits.
Speaking of West Texas, keep an eye out.
We love West Texas, don't we, Rob?
We do. You and I.
We love businesses.
do.
hold
Yeah.
on, hold on. The 23 personnel also love West Texas.
Yeah.
That's why we raise our families here.
We stake the plains.
The family. La
We,
familia.
we like local businesses that operate in West Texas.
We do.
One of those is Code Ninjas. They teach kids ages 5 to 14 how to level up their coding, STEM, and engineering skills in a fun, hands-on environment. Now, they've got year-round programs, Rob, but right now they're running a variety of summer camps, and our listeners can get $10 off using the promo code GAUCHOS. Spencer, do you want to assist me in this ad read since I think you took advantage of this promo
I was going
code?
to tell you about this. So my oldest, Grayson, go ahead and tell me his name. He did a Code Ninjas camp earlier this summer. Jody and his wife that run it love them. I accidentally signed him up for the wrong month. So like I showed up day one. They're like,
Dad move.
we don't have a Grayson on this list. It's like I checked my email. I was like, oh, it's for July. I was like, well, can you fit him in? He's like, yeah, we'll make room. So great people. He absolutely loved that camp. Came home every day just raving about all the great stuff they did.
They make a game controller out of a banana.
Yeah, and they did like musical
I love
instruments, and they were working with that circuit board, Makey Junior Inventor stuff, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Great stuff.
What
Want
do
to
they
get him
call
back
it?
in.
Raspberry.
No, I don't know if it's called Raspberry.
There's
I wanted to get
Raspberry
him
Pi.
back in for some of the other camps. They
that's
did like a Minecraft and Roblox and
Oh, that's
YouTube stuff. He did the Junior Inventors camp in
Is he going to start a YouTube channel?
So he's been begging me to start it up, and I've completely biffed it because I just don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, same.
Because he watches a lot of YouTube channels and watches Minecraft and Roblox.
My nephew
phone,
watches Yo Boy Pizza.
because of
Does Madden stuff.
the Apple crossover, my phone is filled with videos that Grayson has recorded of himself talking about games and oh my gosh, like and screen records of him playing Minecraft. Anyways, he would be much better at being able to create his own channel had he gone to this camp. He went to the, like I said, the Inventors one. Loved it.
Good deal. So he learned a lot and had a good time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Perfect. Promo code Gauchos at checkout, $10 off, and that's good for any of the summer camps at the Lubbock location.
I caught Mr. Code Ninja out at the Matadors game last time.
Good dude.
Yeah, I met him on the last day of the camp. It's a good dude.
And
he's got a good beard like you do.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it.
His last name is actually Ninja.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Ninja. Please talk about the hate Tech is getting from other fan bases after announcing the new renovations.
I haven't seen much of that. I did see a few negative comments from Tech fans. Former offensive lineman Jack Anderson pointed it out on Twitter. It wasn't negative so much as just like, and it wasn't Tech fans. It wasn't like real Tech fans. It was like the people in Lubbock that are like, it was T-shirt fans. And like Tech has them. But it's like, hey man, why don't you win before you put $200 million into
it's the same. Yeah, you even got that
kind of garbage.
Yes, when you posted your
Facebook world,
when you posted your food suggestions at the Jones that we talked about earlier, Rob was getting, well, why don't they win more?
Yeah,
like, wait, hey guys,
you can't eat fried cheese until you go eat 4, man.
You don't deserve any sort of spankies.
It's like uniform guy. Whenever they announce what uniforms they're wearing, they're like, why don't we worry more about what we do on the field than what we're wearing?
Yeah, and or they're also saying, well, I thought we were the Red Raiders. But anyway, yeah, I didn't see a ton of that, but I saw enough to where it is just annoying. Yeah. It's people that look like they look for an instant.
There should have been zero negative comments on a $200 million promise.
No. Say, thank you for your investment. This looks awesome. Let's go.
But there's going to be someone somewhere, well, y'all should check out the plumbing in Holden Hall. Why don't y'all fix that first?
There was
just like, okay.
The band can't even get new uniforms and y'all are putting $200 million.
Who was the coach on Last Chance U when they were in Garden City?
Yeah.
Kansas.
JB.
Yeah, Jason Brown?
Yeah.
I think that was his name.
I thought you were about to say Garden City, Texas.
No.
Independence.
Independence. Yeah, sorry, not Garden City. He had a line in there. He was like,
easy. It's family friendly here.
Yeah. It was about the same deal. Like, they got new uniforms for a JUCO football team. And
that hadn't won any.
And he was like, look, nobody's paying money to go watch a kid take a chemistry exam, but they'll pay money to come watch a football team. Like, sorry. There are revenue generators, and there are things that cost money.
That's basically,
that's a good paraphrase.
Speaking of, who was...
Then he called everybody a slapdick.
Who was the...
Hutchins was
you can edit that out, Spencer.
Well, if we're going to do that, I'm just going to open up the floodgates. I've been holding back over here.
There's one thing Spencer likes to do, and it's cussing.
Yeah.
And getting hammered.
Aren't you guys always hammered when you record?
Oh, my gosh. Guys.
Yeah, what's in that cup over there, Michael?
Whew. Yeah, I mean, it's,
I can tell.
It's just the whole thing of cherry vodka.
Because I opened a can on the recording once. It's kind of like...
It was Diet Coke, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. Never opened a beer on recording.
I don't know if I've seen...
I think that guy is a bit, though. I think that's like a fake account.
I think I've seen you drink a beer like a handful of times. It's been very few times.
More like a handful of beers.
Yeah. Fistful of beers.
Who is your least favorite national sports media personality, and why is it Bruce Feldman or Stuart Mandel?
I don't have anything against Bruce Feldman. He hasn't crossed my radar.
Okay, he did something. I think this is a symptom of a broader thing with Bruce Feldman. But for example, when Notre Dame and Oklahoma State were playing in the Cotton Bowl this season, New Year's Six Bowl, huge bowl game.
Huge.
This guy's a national college football reporter. Turns it on in the first quarter, sees that Notre Dame is winning, and he goes, "Great first game for whatever their new head coach's name is," because Brian Kelly had left.
Freeman.
Oklahoma State comes back and wins. Not a single tweet from Bruce Feldman. It was like, okay, he just, Notre Dame's up, I'll turn it off. And, like, gave no props to Gundy and Oklahoma State. Just like, great first game out of the gates for Freeman. They didn't even win the game.
I would say
it's more of that just bias toward the Ohio States, Notre Dames, and coastal schools. And, like, we don't really care if Oklahoma State wins the Cotton Bowl.
Well, and also to Scott's point, the guy that submitted this question, they tend to will throw something out there, like, without any kind of backing. And then when they get heat for, like, actually, that's not correct. Like, well, don't you know who you're talking to?
Oh,
like,
Stewart is the worst about
expert.
That. All right, start bench cut. Mandel, Feldman, Wolken.
Oh gosh.
You got to read somebody.
Wolken. So I'd probably start Bruce Feldman because my issues with him are less severe than the other two. Bench Wolken because at least with him I kind of don't know what I'm going to get. It might be a really stupid take, and then I know exactly what Mandel is going to. Oh, nobody goes to watch USC football because the beach is right there.
Oh my God!
But it doesn't
was
matter
him?
if 60,000 people want to watch West Virginia or Tech or K-State in person. Those programs don't have any value. But SMU and San Diego State and Wazoo in a merger have enough value for me to write this stupid piece on The Athletic.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm cutting Mandel.
I agree with that, by the way. That lineup.
Woken.
Wilkin.
Big fan.
There's another thing. Bruce Feldman is obviously tied with Alex Grinch's agent because he tweeted at some point that, like, Alex Grinch was the front runner for the Texas Tech job, which was not ever true at any point in time.
No.
So I hope he got Alex Grinch a nice raise at now USC, but I think Feldman he's a little too connected. And so guys like Alex Grinch just text Bruce Feldman like, hey, go ahead and put out there that like I'm in line to replace Mike Gundy if he were to change jobs this year. And Bruce Feldman's like, okay, I'll do it. And
like Schefter.
Yeah. So, which, good for those guys. They get a raise because Bruce Feldman tweets about him. Which of you would make the football team as a walk-on? In a more serious note, in case you didn't take that question seriously.
What?
Which team across
Hurtful.
all sports will get closest actually win a natty this year? And before you give me your prospects on if you'd make the team as a walk-on, tell me what position you would play.
I think the three of us on this side of the room are looking at the only person that's played college athletics and say it's got to be you.
Yeah, it's got to be Kyle.
Played as a stretch, and it
100%
was
Kyle.
Division III. I was on the team at a Division III school.
Absolutely.
I stopped playing football in 8th grade.
The only year I played football was my senior year because I went to a small school. And they were like, yeah, sure, you want to play? It's like, okay. So I played tight end and defensive tackle, and I was terrible at both. Actually, I was pretty good at defensive tackle. I was okay.
You know the Badgers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go Badgers.
I was awful at tight end. My rock hands, I couldn't catch crap.
You weren't the second coming of Jason Morrow?
No. Not even close.
Hey, speaking of
Well, Jason Morrow modeled his game off Michael McDonald.
Yeah, there's very little tape. There's very, very little tape of me playing tight end. Unless someone had like their camcorder out at a scrimmage or a practice. I don't think there's any tape of me lining up
Was
on
that
the offense.
2004? 2002.
Well, I guess technically it was fall of 01, so
Right.
that was a while back.
when we went through our preseason workouts and like they were trying to figure out where everybody was going to play, one of the coaches had us doing like just the 40 sprints. And then once you got done, he's like, okay, now tell me what position you want to play. I did it. I was like, I want to play tight end. He just laughed. I was too slow to play tight end. He's like, no, you'll play offensive tackle. I was like, oh, okay. So in a 5-2 defense, I was a defensive tackle and I was a right tackle on offense.
Nice.
But I'm not making a team as a walk-on.
You're in the Lubbock Christian Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
On the Wall of Honor.
No. I did play both ways on JV, though.
Nice.
Nose and left tackle.
Ooh, left tackle. Holding down the line.
Yeah.
I think I was right tackle. I'm not
See,
sure.
we're right tackle man over here. Quick,
I would have
strong.
preferred to play right tackle.
defensive tackle. I was on the
Yeah,
right
we had
side.
strong and quick, but I was not quick.
The highlight of my quote-unquote career, I played very little, was one series in Anson. I went out for the whole series, and I was either the solo tackler or I was involved in every tackle on all three downs.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool.
That's why they call him 3 and out Michael.
Yeah, that's it.
I have a highlight too.
3 and out, Michael.
I don't know how it happened, but in our 5-2 alignment on one play, they're like, we're going to leave this defensive tackle unblocked. It was an option. They literally pitched it to me because I got through the line so fast. Because I have the ball,
I don't know what to do with my hands.
and I immediately fell.
I'm Johnny. My only highlight on varsity, I had 2 highlights. One, they were both my sophomore year because we were so good. I got to play. I didn't play much the next 2 years. But our senior class when I was a sophomore, we went 13-0 and went undefeated. They were like, yeah, they were really good.
Dang.
Then we went 1-9 my senior year. So
Ouch.
But like one
Locker
time,
room culture,
you saw
take
me
a
on
shit.
you saw me on film like running, and I was like in the way, but I was like lead blocking. The guy had to juke me to get downfield. And the next time we were playing like Notre Dame Catholic or something, and the guy caught a screen pass and fell down, and I was like right there, so like my
Body slammed him.
no worse. My forward momentum was already going forward, and I like didn't want to fall on him, so I just like rolled over him. Like, so look, we watched that 100 times on film. Me just like jumping over the guy to not smash him. They were like, "You should have splashed him."
Well, see, I feel like we've made our case now. I'm not so sure Kyle's a shoe-in or not.
Okay, so which
What
team,
was the other question?
yeah, which team across all sports will get closest to or actually win a natty this year?
This year?
I have full
Yeah,
faith
like, I guess this
that
coming-
baseball will bounce back. The easy question is probably the men's track team. They're always in the mix. I would love to say men's basketball.
Yeah, it's one of men's basketball, baseball, or track until
Yeah.
it's not.
Women's track was pretty good this year. Golf, men's golf,
Golf was
they were in the mix.
kind of on the precipice. I didn't know the Big 12 was a golf conference, but it was like
Yeah.
Tech,
Oh,
Oklahoma,
it has been.
Oklahoma State.
State, yeah.
Always has been.
Yeah.
What's his face, Justin?
Oh, this is a good one. When all the tech podcasts, hey, guys, are y'all paying attention? Come on.
No, not at all.
Spencer was talking to me.
I need y'all to take the mailbag
All right,
seriously.
my bad.
When all the tech podcasts go to war with each other, who is going to win and why? And I mean in a physical war to the death sense.
Oh my
That's in
God.
the tweet.
Well, we would be the
Rated
final
R
two.
war.
Do y'all want to form an alliance?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you like to form an alliance with me?
So we're going to form an alliance. Do we think we can take out all the other podcasts?
I mean, I think there would be a few out there. I would assume. Are we just going to name some?
Well,
No, we don't want to promote our.
is it the four of us versus everybody else? Because there's a lot of other everybody else.
Well, there's.
Well, I think
there's a
everybody's
lot of
fending
them.
for themselves. We just
Yeah.
have an alliance.
Well, there's about 7
they-
podcasts that have a pre-written alliance that.
Okay, yeah. And now also some of these podcasts, like we're just two dudes. Y'all are just two dudes. But some of
Yeah.
these people have like 7
They've got a
producers
team,
and
yeah. The whole family, you'd
Chief
say.
operating officers.
yeah, they, they got like a CFO. Of
Yeah, they're
the
entertainment
podcast.
empires.
So-
Entertainment 720.
What's
Parks and
what was OU's thing? Dirty deeds done
Premier Worldwide.
Done dirt cheap.
done in the dark. Dirt.
Dirty hard work.
Dirty
done
hard-
in the dark.
That would be us.
I'll have to look at
My
that.
answer to this is a cop out and say that all Texas Tech podcasts are on the same team.
After all that, you're going to cop out?
Well, like we're not going to go fight another podcast, are we?
We would be the
Good
final
Lord.
four.
So this is like an Anchorman kind of.
Is this a street
situation.
fight? No
Is this
face?
basically what this is.
We're gonna-
Brick shows up with a hand grenade kind of thing. Someone gets a trident.
yeah.
Been meaning to talk to you about that.
No face, no nuts.
MLB. So this is a question about the MLB draft, but it hasn't happened yet, so we can't really get to that.
It's still happening. It goes on 300 days a year.
The Tech QB battle. That's all that's in the tweet. I'm gonna
Tech QB battle send tweet.
I'm gonna save that for August because we're gonna have time to get into position group previews, and we've kind of been going a while.
McGuire did say he's going to name a quarterback the week before their first game,
So they'll have 2 weeks. They'll have
Yep.
one full week, and then
which is
the
exactly
game
what you
week.
said on the last podcast.
Yeah, I think that's like the latest you should announce it.
Yeah.
I hated that. You'll know when he runs out there.
Yeah, that I get it, but it always bothered me too.
The team needs to know who the quarterback is.
Yeah, and then the wrong one would run out there. Like, McLean freaking
All right, he's running out there. Oh God.
Ole Miss is going to kill us.
On a scale of New Mexico State to A&M, how insufferable are the Utes? I'll hang up and listen.
This is an Aggie
An
scale.
Aggie Central.
So Utah State is in there somewhere.
The Utes,
Yeah.
are, the Utes are awful.
Yeah.
Their fan base on Twitter.
I would say A&M levels.
Yeah, no, it's that level
Yeah.
of delusion.
Well, I think you're right because we've just kind of not been exposed to it.
Don't you know
Well,
who
can
they
I-
are?
Can I say like I don't want to defend this one Utah fan, but like they did get to a Rose Bowl, but they've also been like as close to the Mountain West as they are to going back to the Rose
Yeah.
Bowl.
I'm sorry, but that's not enough. Like,
No.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that defends them, but they have a modicum of success to at least stand
Yeah.
on. Whereas like,
Well, I'm not-
what New Year's Six Bowl have you been to, Texas
yeah,
Tech?
I'm not arguing with you, but like Oklahoma State has been to what 4 New Year's Six or BCS games under Gundy, and sorry, they're stuck with us, who's coming off our worst decade ever. So Utah is not better than Oklahoma State or Baylor recently or West Virginia historically. Like, sorry, you can come hang out with the rest of us. You're not too good for us.
Is Utah better than Iowa State?
Historically?
No, I mean just like if you put any of those teams against each other the last 3 years.
No, I think Utah is. I think they're an upper half Big 12 team, but I don't think they're better than Baylor, Oklahoma State, or Iowa State.
I agree. I think they would.
They might be competitive with them.
Yes.
They might beat them, 50% of the time, but they're not just like running this conference.
They also get to play a bunch of Pac-12 teams.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, you're in the South with,
Yeah.
USC, who had to fire their coach because they were so bad. Colorado, who doesn't care about athletics. Arizona won one game in like 2 years.
yeah.
So they win their division, and they're like, we're playing for Pac-12 championships. We're in the Rose Bowl. Okay.
BYU went undefeated last year in the Pac-12 play.
Yeah, they went 5-0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait. I want them to join just so that I can root for BYU
Just
in
curb
the
stomp
Holy
'em.
War. So we're going A&M on that spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty much all of them. Somebody else asked about tickets for the TCU game, but we already covered that.
We don't have any yet.
Yet we're all going though.
Yeah, I think I'm legitimately going to try to go.
Just use promo code 23Gaucho somewhere and see what,
Yeah, we need
see what that gets you. Just plug it in.
We need El Jefe to figure out the hack to the system.
I'll just use SeatGeek. We need to get SeatGeek to sponsor us.
Yeah, maybe.
We need to get Whataburger to sponsor us. We talk about Whataburger
Ooh.
like every week.
What's your favorite specialty sandwich?
The green chili double.
It rotates. It usually is the Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich,
That's a good one.
but the
You would.
peppercorn ranch.
You
I
would
know the
like
chicken
the chicken
tendies.
strip sandwich.
It's like boneless wings on a sandwich. It's great.
It is with some melted cheese. The peppercorn ranch variations right now. The chicken
Yeah.
club. Oh, it's really good.
Yeah,
Spicy.
pepper-
Like the
Peppercorn ranch
mushroom
blue
Swiss
cheese.
burger.
That's too much
The
mushroom.
the
the
A1 burger.
honey
The sweet and
barbecue
spicy.
strip sandwich.
Sweet and spicy that we don't get here.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's
The
a
bacon?
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Honey-
probably my favorite all
Honey
time.
barbecue chicken strip sandwich. That's a classic. That's been around a long time.
To me, there's too much sauce.
They can't
Like, I want
overdo it
half
sometimes.
sauce.
Here's the other thing. You know how there's
On the app, you can do that.
there's a fat end of the chicken tender and then kind of like a pointier end. They don't stagger them.
Yeah, you've got
Right,
to do
you
that.
So
gotta
one end of the
flip
sandwich
the
is like
middle
2
one.
inches thick, and then the other side's just like the breading.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you need to
And all the sauce
go
on that
crossways.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
all the
it's a good
sauce.
sandwich overall. You get it on Texas toast.
The bucket of sauce is on. Oh, the pro move. Put on the toast.
Did you know you can do that with any
Yeah.
burger at Whataburger?
Oh, wow.
Dude, the app is where it's at.
The
Oh, I
app, you
know.
can experiment with the app. It's eye opening.
And I love ordering on apps. I order on the Sonic app.
Ooh.
No free ads. But like even when I go to Starbucks, I have to order on the app. I get too much anxiety. Like, can I get the can I just get a cold brew?
I always do that. I'm like, I want the coffee.
Yeah.
Just give me a coffee.
I feel a little bad, but I don't. Sometimes I forget that when you have a lot of followers on Twitter and you quote tweet someone, you're just setting them up to be ratioed. But it's this guy's fault for being an ass first.
Yeah.
So all I didn't at anybody.
Is he a student reporter that you're hammering?
No, I would never.
How dare you. Think of the children. Think of the children.
I quote tweeted The Athletic about the Big 12 and all that, and this guy, I guess from SMU, goes, SMU doesn't need to be rescued by TT or the Big 12. We will be joining the ACC or Big 10. For what it's worth, I've never heard anyone say, wow, you went to TT or you live in Lubbock. So, like, out of nowhere, catching strays from an SMU fan.
Yeah.
So I quote tweet him and say, yeah, your Big 10 invite is coming at the same time as Utah's. And I just went back and looked. He has 4 quote tweets and 27 replies. So his ratio right now is 31 to 0. He has no likes on his tweet. And I'm like, I wasn't necessarily trying to get 27 people to
Whoops.
respond to you, but
You murdered. You murdered
Henry?
Yes.
the dolt.
Good grief. You've you have some pretty good singers every once in a while. You're very good on Twitter.
This is why we have the alliance.
But you
Exhibit A.
you murdered that guy. Like
He was
Like-
like, you haven't beaten us in Fort Worth in 1,000 days. And I'm like, okay. Like, you think Texas Tech's basketball program at this point is checking a box that says won a game in Fort Worth?
right, yeah.
Like, sorry, we're too busy hanging Final Four, Elite Eight, and Sweet 16 banners.
But you
Big
had
12
like,
championship
on a
banners.
reply in the middle of a thread, you had like 150 likes. It's like This doesn't happen.
I legitimately do feel bad, but I don't.
No, you don't.
I really do try to pride myself on. I will swing back harder.
You're a man of faith.
But I'm not going to go like
There's
find
a
you
deep
out.
drive to left
swing
field.
There's a deep- But it's like, okay, you came in here talking crap for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't at you, Henry Dolt. And like, sorry, I looked up some history. You've only appeared in one Sweet 16 game, or you haven't appeared in any Sweet 16 game since 1968. The schools were still segregated. My 4-month-old daughter has seen more Texas Tech Sweet 16 games.
That was the line, yeah.
It's just like, don't come in here with that. Maybe cool it on the basketball smack talk. Talk all the baseball smack you want, because y'all have been to Omaha. Y'all beat us during the Matt Wells era in football. I know they practically want to hang a banner for that at TCU. But don't, like, cool it on the basketball.
But we're not
smack
rivals, though, probably.
talk. Probably not.
They probably don't view us as rivals, but pretty excited about that 3-0.
The battle for the saddle is back, baby.
I think it's funny like how much they are hammering the 3-0 versus Matt Wells, and like I would be hammering the 82-27. I'd beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
shit.
that would be just reply.
I have-
82
We ran out of
27.
fireworks,
Or,
guys.
that they've won a Big 12 title and we haven't, and they've been in the conference.
But no, it's
half
like,
as
oh,
long.
we're like 2-6 or like 6-2 against you the last 8.
Like, you have nightmares of our air horn,
Yeah.
don't you? Like, yeah,
Okay.
we do. Actually.
Well, it's because they were like 500 against Kingsbury, who was fired. So they just pivoted like, oh, well, we went 3-0 against Matt Wells. Hang the banner. I'm like, okay, like nobody here is going to defend that period of Tech football and be like, yeah, those were the glory days, and TCU still one-upped us.
Are we at 2 hours yet?
I hope so.
135.
I wish that Twitter is an instant shot platform. I wish I could get all these people 5 years from now be like, what do you think that, when after Joey has it rolling for 5 years and Sonny Dykes has it rolling for 5 years, what do you think this conversation is going to be like?
Is Sonny Dykes going to have it rolling?
I'll circle back. I'll save the receipts. I'll remember this.
Get some
I
screenshots.
bookmarked some stuff.
Don't worry.
There was a Kansas. Oh my gosh, I haven't even showed y'all this because we don't want to murder them yet. But there was a Kansas podcast who predicted that they would win 7 games this year, 7 or 8, and Texas Tech was obviously one of the dubs.
Obviously.
I feel like that's the hot take right now is people who don't want to put Kansas 10th.
Yeah, the whole hot
put
take is
them
Kansas won't finish last.
put
But
them
it's
above
not that
10.
hot when it's a Kansas podcast.
Not West Virginia, not TCU.
7 wins.
I don't get it.
Hang on.
Well, Leipold, man, he was great at Buffalo.
I think 4 is if Kansas goes 4-8, I think that's a great season for them. And I'm not saying that to throw shots.
It's like I'm already on record with this 7-6. I have Tennessee Tech, West Virginia, Duke, TCU, Texas Tech, and K-State. Feel like you could swap
They're not beating K-State.
Feel like you could swap West Virginia to a loss and Texas to a win and still get to the bowl game.
Well, they do have history there.
Yeah,
Texas.
I mean, they've got a point there. Then give me the bowl game to get to the 7th. I realize this is a bold prediction, and I wouldn't be shocked if I was wrong.
So you think they'll go 6-6?
They think they'll go 6-6.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if you're wrong either. Can I see the guy's picture? You don't have to say his name. I think I know who it was.
Yeah, hang on. That's who it is.
Oh, yeah. Friend of the program.
That was July 6th.
I'll circle back to that.
I really don't get the West Virginia stuff. So West Virginia's head coach.
What? HCNB. Head coach Neil Brown.
West Virginia's head coach went 0-3 against the guy we just upgraded from.
And they love his recruiting. It's like it's year 4.
Are they just in? Do they have Stockholm syndrome? Because their fans still like Neil Brown. I was like, have you guys paid attention?
When,
the
like,
last 3
in the
years?
middle of it last year, they didn't. But then, like, he was recruiting good.
No, yeah, they like tweet gifs of him like dabbing and
It's like, it's year
like
4.
Neil Brown just stole your recruit. I'm like, you guys suck though.
You had 28 guys leave your program, transfer out.
I think it's because they have
They're in denial.
they have no rivals and they have no real connection to the Big 12 and they don't care.
I do feel bad
All
for
they
West
have to
Virginia.
do is root for their team and they're doing the best they can.
Okay, there's a little bit.
I
of,
feel for them.
There's a
quite
little bit of
bit.
Utah and West Virginia because like with Cincinnati about to join.
Oh, West Virginia's likable.
I tweeted something. I was like, well, like Cincinnati can be a rival for West Virginia, and all their fans are like, Cincinnati is not a rival of West Virginia. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. Like I know that Pitt is your primary rival, but Cincinnati more so than like Kansas and Iowa State is your rival,
You
right?
would think so. I mean, some sort of
Just like
geographical
Tech fans-
connection.
Well, Iowa State, they have the gas can that they, like the
Yeah.
riot or whatever.
But like Tech fans, okay, A&M and UT aren't in the conference anymore. We're not like Oklahoma State and TCU aren't our rivals. We're like, okay, yeah, y'all are our rivals now. or you always were, but now you're just.
Well, but there are a lot of people that turn their nose up at Houston right now.
That's true, but that's because you have alternatives.
One of them's in this room.
Yes.
That's because you have alternatives, though. West Virginia has no alternatives to Cincinnati.
Iowa State.
Doesn't mean they have to pick one. They can just hate them all.
I don't know. If
Central
you want,
Florida?
To me, I would be like looking for if Tech went to the Pac-12 alone or something. I'd be like, okay, let's find a rival. Like, is it Arizona State? Is it Colorado?
Oh, it's Arizona State for sure.
I wouldn't be like, we don't have any rivals in this conference. Like, there's no fun in that.
Yeah.
You want to play rivals.
I think I would say Colorado because I kind of want to root for Arizona State.
I
kind of like them.
I kind of like.
I like the
Arizona
Arizonas,
schools.
so it would be, which means that I would probably eventually hate them. So
They
that's
can
probably
join
a
the
good
alliance.
choice. They can.
We'll be in their pod,
I taught you self-reliance.
and we'll root for the Arizona schools over every other Big 12.
I think that's good.
Is that Indiana
Yeah, I
Jones'
was like,
dad?
who was that?
Sean Connery?
Arizona Jones.
I thought it was alliance was what he said, but then I was already too into it when I taught you self-reliance.
Self-alliance.
It's not. Yeah, that's
I think that's something else.
Let me get Joel's thoughts on a couple things. Just lightning round.
count to 10 in Greek.
Best football jobs in the Big 12. Best basketball jobs in the Big 12. Knowing that Kansas is at the top of basketball, bottom of football, who's in between on both?
New Big 12 or
No,
current
the
Big
current
12?
10.
Okay, so let's do basketball first. I legitimately think right now Texas Tech is the second best job in the Big 12 because
Why
of the
not first?
Womble. I mean, Kansas has the history. I just
Yeah, so let me, before we get too deep into this, the criteria is history, recent success, facilities, fan support, NIL type
Ooh, yeah.
support, because that's a big factor now. Those
Yeah.
are the 5 criteria that I'm going off of.
Yeah, I would say Texas Tech's number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd argue with you there. I think
I think Texas is probably 3.
if I looked at the history, the history would not tell me that a bunch of guys have won at Baylor, but they won a natty a year ago. So it's hard for me to, put that job in.
They just built a new arena.
Yeah.
I would say Baylor's 4
I think West Virginia.
because
is
I would
next.
weigh
and Waco-
I would weigh recent success as like the lowest totem.
And Waco is easier for Jeff Goodman to get to by about 15 minutes if you count his layover in Dallas from Boston. So that's a big deal in the recruiting.
Yeah,
That's why SMU belongs on
and
the
then
big stage.
like Oklahoma State, Kansas State, TCU, everybody else is the next.
TCU is last.
I don't think there's a bad job in the Big 12.
TCU is a clear last for me. Just by way of Kansas State and Iowa State
Yeah.
and Oklahoma State's arenas being triple the size. You can say Dallas-Fort Worth recruiting are the top prospects in DFW ever going to go to TCU. I don't think so.
They haven't been.
If they're a national type player, they're going to go to Arizona or Duke or wherever they want to go. If they're a 4-star type, they'll probably go to Texas or Baylor or Tech right now, not TCU.
I think Iowa State would be in the top half, honestly, just because of
Yeah.
their fans.
Hilton Magic.
Yeah.
So I would agree. Their 0-18 season, for me, there's still some stench from that.
Oh, sure.
but that was an outlier.
Yeah. They also
And a lot of stuff happened.
haven't had a ton
Yeah.
of tournament success. So I looked at historically, like, could multiple guys duplicate the job that it was done at this school? And, like, Baylor has only had one good head coach in basketball, pretty much.
When like Tech's in such a weird position because the Womble didn't exist 3 years ago.
But even still, Tech is right there with Texas, Oklahoma State, all these other schools, pretty much neck and neck in terms of how many different coaches have made the NCAA tournament and how many different coaches have made the NCAA tournament twice at that school.
And got into a Sweet 16. You have 3.
Yeah, I haven't looked
4.
that far into it, but it's just kind of one of those things like, okay, every school has an Eddie Sutton and Bill Self, but like the 3rd, 4th best coach in school history, was he winning games in the NCAA tournament?
The last 4 head coaches at Texas Tech have been to the Sweet 16.
And the last 3,
That's not true.
not Tubby.
Yeah. Or
Not
Two,
at Tech.
two, not 2.
Yeah, the last 3 have won Big 12
Yeah.
Coach of the Year.
Oh, 3. Sorry. 2, not 3, 2. Because Toby Gillespie and Walker didn't. But Dickey, Knight, Beard Adams.
Myers.
Didn't go to the Sweet 16.
I'm saying going further back, he made the NCAA tournament multiple times.
Right, but I'm talking about the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
There were 2 nights in there though.
4 coaches in the middle did not.
How about football? I
forgot about Pat.
Football, I put Texas and OU in a tier by themselves. I didn't want to
Yeah.
argue that.
Yeah.
I think Texas is the higher ceiling job, but
Yes.
lower floor because of the boosters and the rotten culture.
I
there.
think Texas is one of the worst. Okay, I mean it's one of the worst jobs, I think, because you are just never going to meet those expectations.
It really does depend on how you're defining best jobs. Like
Yes.
Aaron Dickens has made this point that Mark Stoops at Kentucky, you can make an argument he has one of the best jobs in the country. He makes $5 million a year. If he goes 8-4, they're totally fine with that.
Well, it's almost like Leach at Mississippi State. I mean, or Leach at Washington or Washington State. Kind of that same.
Or Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean we're starved for somebody
Or
just to be.
Matt Campbell at Iowa State. Like,
Yes.
yeah, you could make the jump to the NFL or USC or Florida
Notre Dame.
and get canned after 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Or you could just stay at Iowa State, go 7-5, and they'll freaking love you.
Well, and you can even throw OU in there too, because I saw a lot of Lincoln Riley hate this last season, especially.
That's
the
why he
last
left.
Couple, yes,
100% he left because he got pushed out from the fan base.
yeah. I think there was a lot of that.
100%. Nothing to
Going
do with the
on.
SEC.
I think he just wanted to
Or the
play in
Big Ten?
I think he just wanted to play in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think he knew about it.
Maybe
That's
so.
what everyone says about Beard. Yeah, that's why Beard left, because he knew. They didn't tell that. You think they would tell him about
No,
it?
hey, but
God would be like the
okay.
first person to fold.
Think back. Chris Beard, Kim Mulkey went from Baylor to LSU. Jim Schlossnagle went from TCU to A&M, all in the same offseason.
I just don't believe that Beard would have kept it secret. He would not have been capable. It
I
would
don't
have- it
think
would
they
have
needed to
slipped.
tell Chris Beard, hey, man, you're going to be playing SEC
Yeah, because it would have had to
basketball."
come straight from the president.
No, but I do think Kim Mulkey at Baylor and Jim Schlossnagle at TCU were probably made kind of aware and thought, I'd rather coach in the SEC than the Big 12
Well, and I'm not saying
if I want
that-
to stay at the top of my profession.
Sure, and I'm not saying that the SEC is a bad basketball league. They've gotten a lot better the last few years, but I mean, Big 12 is
Top
really
heavy.
The other thing with Beard is like he
Big
left,
12 is really the top basketball league.
when he left for his alma mater.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's one of those things that whether Texas was secretly going to the SEC or staying in the Big 12
there
or
was
secretly
some-
going to the Big 10, I
there
think
was
he
some
probably would have
personal,
gone.
some personal stuff there.
Yeah, it's personal.
Personal things pushing him out of Lubbock, Texas as well.
Do y'all follow the no context Texas Tech account yet?
He has been so on fire.
It's great.
Yeah.
Who is?
And,
I want to know who it is.
I want to know too, but one of the pictures he tweeted with no context was like a huge banner in the football stadium that like the students unrolled.
Now it's personal.
Now it's personal with the double T.
We
I immediately thought of it
hammered
all.
that banner
Oh, it was just that whole
all
that whole
year
slogan.
long.
I remember everything. Every email you got before the season started had that in there, and then after 2 or 3 games, disappeared.
the press
Completely
conference
gone.
The press conference where he said it was awesome. Like the quote,
Sure.
dropped the quote, great quote. It was awesome. Then they ran it into the effing ground.
And then we got slaughtered.
That was you had a brilliant tweet. It was like I don't know what it was. It was like
Was that this year?
yeah. It was
Yeah.
Last summer
It was
they left,
21.
and it was like right before the 21 season. Wells was like, "Yeah, it's personal now."
Wow.
And you had some brilliant tweet about like UT and or OU beats our ass 10 years in a row, and then now they're going to the SEC. Now it's personal.
We're gonna get them this time, guys.
Yeah. They really did it this time.
That's fighting words. Yeah, that's right. Because it was
That
about
seems
the
like
whole
years ago.
about them bolting to
I know.
the SEC. That's right.
It was a year ago, like today almost.
Yeah.
That they announced earlier. It feels like it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, July 26, 2021.
If they stay the full time, it's going to feel like they were leaving for a decade.
Yeah.
I hope
It's like one of those goodbyes at a party. All right, well, we'll see you later.
You
Okay,
walk-
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you're turning left
Go
too?
ahead. Go ahead.
is that called the Irish goodbye?
Yeah. No, I think the Irish goodbye is like when you just
No, that's when you
leave and
just
don't
leave.
tell
Oh,
anybody.
yeah.
That's what I do. But
Same.
yeah, the other one is just all right. Well, okay. Well, it's
Then you leave together,
well,
and
it's
then
going
you're
to be
walking the same way.
Yeah, and then you stop at the doorway,
and then you're parked right beside each other.
Oh, you
Is
forgot
this
your
Uber
jacket.
too? I hope our listeners, 23 Personnel and Gauchos listeners, are on a nice road trip or have a ton of yard work to do to listen to this episode.
If they're 23 personnel listeners, they're used to it.
Well, ours are.
Well,
I think our record is an hour and 50, maybe.
I really thought in the off season, like, okay, like 30 minutes is going to be a stretch, and
Yeah,
this is what we do.
2 minutes away from that, by the way.
from the record.
We're 147.45.
Add
do
some
y'all-
intros, and we got it.
What are y'all's thoughts on
Final thoughts?
Joe Biden, coronavirus, the situation in
Putin.
Ukraine? Did you just turn it off?
There. Okay.
He just muted everybody.
I've saved everybody from that. I turned Kyle's off.
He's still going.
Oh wait, we never answered though.
I just
top
think
job in the Big 12.
I just think if the Fed hikes the interest rates too much, then it could really slow down the housing market. And
Top job in the Big 12.
you're looking at an entire generation that'll be priced out if interest rates are too high. Yeah, so football jobs, I don't know.
I mean, because Texas Tech is going to be a much better job in 2 years.
A lot of guys are currently, like Mike Gundy and Matt Campbell, are the best coach that program has ever had. So it's hard to tell how much of that is just them, or have they elevated that job?
Oklahoma State has been elevated in the last 2 decades because of Boone Pickens and Gundy.
I think the facilities and all that.
And Jack Trice is getting a bridge over the highway. So
I've heard.
I even think, I mean, is Baylor in the conversation?
I think so.
Just because of the expectations of the fans and stuff,
They've
too,
had
on
3
top of
straight
that?
coaches win there. They're right in the middle of the Texas Triangle recruiting
not
hotbed.
straight. Put some respect on Jim Grobe's name.
Okay. Yeah, I don't count that.
6-6.
Hey, for Baylor,
Was he
that's
really
not
6-6?
bad.
Started 6-0 and
Yeah.
then went 0-6.
Oh, okay.
Well, their fans are
The Kingsbury special.
Yeah.
And they won the bowl game. I think they were 7-6.
During that, yeah, they beat Boise
Like
State. I think.
500 yards rushing in that bowl game.
They so as they were ascending to 6-0 every week, their fans were complaining that they were underrated in the AP poll. They're like, "We're a top 5 team,"
Yeah.
and then they just rattle off 6 straight L's. I was like, "No, we're not ever a top 25 team."
Wait till you go 7-0 and then lose 5 in a row. Then we
Is
can
West
talk.
Virginia the worst job in the Big 12?
No,
Nah.
Besides Kansas?
I think it's top half. I don't think they have elite facilities.
Big
but
12 West Virginia?
I don't know. I mean, they still have.
I think Big East West Virginia is
They have
probably
one of the
top
largest
half of Big
facilities.
East.
They don't really have to compete with the other schools in recruiting. They're recruiting different areas.
You putting TCU down?
I think
Because Big 12 TCU has not been good.
I think West Virginia is a better job than TCU.
Okay.
I think the only
Iowa
job
State?
TCU is we're in DFW.
I think Iowa State's the perfect job. I don't think it's a good job. I think it's a perfect job for Matt
State-
Campbell.
Oh, I still have Iowa State near the bottom because nobody
Yeah.
besides Matt Campbell has ever
That's what I'm saying.
duplicated success there.
So they're 9?
Probably, yeah. I have them in tiers.
See, Kansas State, too, like,
Only one coach has
only
ever
Bill
done it.
Snyder.
Yeah, so for football, I looked at how many different guys have a winning percentage over 55% at a school after World War II. Because a lot of these guys are like, this guy coached for 6 years in the 1920s. Like, that's great. Tech had that too. But
Yeah.
And Bill Snyder's the only. I mean, they were awful without him. And I think Kleiman could be a guy who proves that you can have success there
Yeah.
outside of Bill Snyder. But
Is anybody else curious, like, when Kyle finds the time to do all this research?
at night when I'm refusing to sleep and then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, I should have gone to bed 2 hours sooner.
Yeah, I read stuff at night and then it's just gone. It's just like it never happened. It's like a fever dream. Was I up on the Wikipedia page about the Texas Bowl? I think I was. I had a dream about the Texas Bowl.
Y'all seen any Westerns lately?
I have not.
I watched a. Is this okay, guys?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point,
We're having fun.
it's not going to be a time-sensitive podcast, so
No,
I
no,
might as
no.
well. I watched A Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah.
Good one.
I didn't realize as I was watching it that the poor production value. I thought it was just a symptom of it being in the 1960s, and then I read about it on Wikipedia and realized that they filmed the entire thing silently, and then dubbed in every language. So they, they
Spaghetti
just,
Western.
Yeah, they move their lips and then they dub
Can
it
we
in
say
Italian.
spaghetti western? Is that derogatory? Is that bad?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Just because they were done in Italy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the actors were Italian, so they had really thick
So
accents.
I was watching it, and
Never heard that term.
there's a scene
Spaghetti
in that
Western?
movie where there's
Hey,
like
Clint
a
Eastwood did a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
spaghetti western. There's like a 6 or 7 year old boy is like reunited with his mom, and he's like talking, and it's very obviously a 50-year-old woman that's dubbing the voice of this child, and the lips aren't even close to matching up with when the noises are being made.
Part of the charm.
And there's others that was like, okay, they're off by like half a second there. It's not too bad. But I didn't realize that it was filmed silently and they just dub it in German, Italian, Spanish, English. It kind of explained a lot.
Hey, if you never have to worry about audio on a movie, like think about how fast you can
Oh, yeah. He's
throw
knocking
together
it
a
out.
film.
Yeah.
Well, they add a bunch of Foley stuff anyways.
Well, right,
Also-
but like if you don't have to do that like on set, like
Yeah.
we're about
Fake blood has come a long way since the 60s.
Oh, I'm
I think they just
sure,
use red Crayola paint.
Oh, it's like the brightest red.
Yeah, it was like not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and just super. What is viscous?
Yeah.
Or
viscosity.
I did a
viscosity
science
was
fair
always off,
project on
too.
viscosity
I
one
cannot
time.
believe I just remembered the word viscosity.
That
I
is science
pulled
fair
that out of
project on-
10th grade
Yeah.
chemistry or something.
I learned a good piece of trivia about a Western movie.
Yeah.
John Wayne, The Searchers, came out in 1956. At the end, he says, "That'll be the day." It's actually in our podcast opening.
yes, and
That was Buddy Holly's inspiration.
I
for
was
That'll Be
hoping
the Day.
that was going to be the payoff. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I had no idea. As soon as you said that, I thought, okay.
Yeah.
And
When somebody commented, it was a YouTube comment I saw. It's like, "Oh, this was Buddy Holly's inspiration." I was like, "No, it wasn't." This movie came out.
like a,
Did
This
y'all
movie came
know?
out after Buddy Holly, but no, it was 1956. Yeah,
Did y'all
Buddy
know
Holly.
John Wayne is a Big Ten legend?
Is he?
He played football at USC.
Did he?
Yep.
John Wayne.
Big Ten legend John Wayne.
Mary,
you know his real name?
Marion something.
Duke Silver. The Duke.
I
Duke
think
Silver
that's
is Ron
a
Swanson's
popular
alias.
saxophone player. Yeah,
What was it? Marion Morrison or Marion?
Marion something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marion.
Do you remember like a size 8 boot?
Really?
Really?
Yeah. he's
No
like
wonder he
over
walks
6
so
feet.
funny.
He's like 6 feet, 6 something. And he wears like a tiny boots.
I would have walked weird too.
There's a cool line. I hope we go 4-0 to start the season so I can meme this. And I hope other people don't steal this idea. But
Trademark.
so Fistful of Dollars, the premise is like they're in this town, and on one end of the town there's the one family that controls half the town, and on the other end is the other family that controls half the town. Am I boring you to death, Rob?
No, was this the Hatfield and
Trying to get
McCoys?
the
That's like
quick
your
version.
4th or 5th yawn today, man.
And so Clint
Sorry.
Eastwood is going to go make a statement and like shoot some of the people from one of these families. And on his way walking to the edge of town, he passes the town coffin maker, and he's like, prepare 3 coffins. And he goes and handles his business, but 4 guys come out, so he shoots 4. And he's like walking back to the inn. He goes, my mistake, 4 coffins. So I'd love to meme that with like Murray State's logo over one of the guys, Houston over another, and like when we start 3-0.
Yeah, that's gonna be
prepare
Texas.
3 coffins. Yeah, you'd have to beat NC State and Texas, and the 4th one would be Texas.
Would you be ranked if you went 4-0?
You'll be ranked if you go 3-0.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you will.
You would not.
You want to bet?
Well, because
Yes, I would wanna bet.
Well, do you think is Houston going to be ranked going into the season?
Houston might be fringe, and then
NC State's ranked.
NC State is gonna be top 15 on the road.
Some of them are picking them top 10.
If you win
already.
that, if they're number 12, let's
If-
say,
They're
On
getting
the
way
road.
too much
Yeah.
preseason love.
And you're
Okay.
3-0.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll get there. We got a long time.
then you'll be big noon kickoff against Texas, and it'll be a ranked matchup. They'll be 2-2, and they'll be number 25 in the country.
Big nooner.
You'll be 3-0.
Oh, yeah, Texas
number
will be ranked
24 in
for
the country.
sure.
Yeah. After a loss to UTSA.
Well,
and,
but Texas plays Alabama, I think, right before.
and UTSA, they're going to lose to their future head
Oh
coach.
God, that'd be great.
I
The
think
system.
Houston's coming to Lubbock 0-1.
Who do they play?
UTSA.
You think UTSA is just going to?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be UTSA in that scene.
They'll be 2-0.
Prepare 3 coffins. They take down Houston, Texas.
Just Jeff Trailer going on.
Put Jeff Trailer over Clint Eastwood's
Yeah.
mug. Never mind, that's 4 coffins.
Yeah. All right, well,
That'd be
put it
fun.
on ice. Either Jeff Traylor or Joey McGuire. Cut them both.
Then we can start the discourse. Should you have hired Jeff Trailer instead of Joey McGuire?
I think you tried.
What?
What?
What did you say?
Huh? I said I think they tried.
Well, because wasn't his big extension? Didn't that mysteriously come out that same week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just used Tech as a leverage play. But that's fine with me, because
yeah.
you'll recall in October, I said 1 is Joey McGuire, 1A is Jeff Trailer. So my preference was always King Joey.
Hire McGuire.
Hashtag.
Let's go! In the red sunglasses.
Dude. So good.
You put
Tyree Wilson was like pulling down, like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
you putting that is. I mentioned in one of our chats that Joe McGuire I feel like is our last hope, and Rob not missing a beat put the Princess Leia hologram from R2D2 in A New Hope, and then I said, well, someone should put his face on Obi-Wan's, and of course it's the old Alec Guinness hello there, and
Raised up his hood.
and so he raises his hood back, and it's that Joe McGuire's face with the red sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I'm going to
It's
overuse
fantastic.
that so much.
You've got to use that.
I thought my Moses reference in Discord was a little bit underrated.
You're which
Yeah.
one?
Oh, I doubled down on it with the most.
Let's my people go.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
No, I thought it was good. I was trying to figure out how to work Locust in there, but I don't know.
You know, if you want to be on the Discord, you can go to patreon.com/GamblingGauchos and sign up.
Yeah, we got interviews with Fardal Zamak, Matt Mooney, Cody Campbell, Sonny Cumby.
We're going to be talking to an Instagram influencer this week.
Yeah, another Instagram influencer, because we're not an Instagram influencer. I can't figure that thing out.
No. We just started TikTok, too. Follow us on TikTok, Gambling Gauchos.
Yeah, if you do have NIL questions, curious about people that work in that space, questions for a professional, let us know, and we'll try to dig for some answers. Patreon, $5 a month, and proceeds go to the Matador Club.
You can be a big booster if you join the Matador Club. The Patreon.
A BMD.
Parlay Picadors.
Parlay Picador. All right, final thoughts?
I've got a family waiting on me for dinner, so no, I don't have anything else.
If we run out of time on the chip, we'll do it next time.
Oh,
We
the
have to do
chip.
the
I
chip
forgot
later.
about
It'll be
that.
like Lindsey Buckingham on the old, what's up with that?
Mrs. Gaucho was
What
like,
to
do you
get
think
to
like
next time?
5 o'clock? And I was like, yeah, surely.
Apologies to Matt Damon.
It's now like 5 to 6.
It's 6, yeah.
All right, so I guess you'll just email this to me later, or we'll put it up. If you're listening to this on the Gauchos feed, go check out the 23 Personnel Podcast. If you're listening on the 23 Personnel Podcast, go check out the Gambling Gauchos. Kyle?
I have no final thoughts. I enjoyed the crossover event.
I was just getting you to say your little tagline, and then we can turn it off.
We started this during the bye week last football season. 23 personnel where food and sports clash at the goal line. Ours is supposed to be a sports betting podcast. It's just hard to do in the off season. So we appreciate those who stick with us through the dog days.
Appreciate. He's almost there. He was almost there.
Jace Young, over under 15.
After.
Under is before.
After.
Over. All right, let's do it. Do you have any taglines you want to close out with?
We'll catch you guys next time.
All right, love y'all.
Love y'all.